What's up, everybody? Hello. In case you didn't know, there's a lot of war going on right now. So yeah, I saw this yesterday. I kind of wanted to react to the full stream, and we didn't. I had Davey and Della on yesterday, so we didn't have a chance to do that. So today, we are going to be watching the interview, the Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes interview from yesterday. And to be honest, the little bit I've seen so far, I completely agree with these guys. I don't agree with everything. I don't agree with voting for Democrats unless there's like an actually good moderate Democrat who's like, going to be better than the other options. But mostly I feel exactly how they do right now. I feel very, very betrayed by Donald J. Trump. I feel like a scorned girlfriend, You cheated on me with the neocons. I'm going to go slash some tires and shit. Let's get into it. Let's do it. This is going to be just a chill episode. We're going to watch. We're going to react. We're going to have some fun. Links are in the description. If you want to support the show, smash the thumbs up. Help get this out to more people. It's very much appreciated. Links are in the description. If you want to become a member, just follow my second channel, join the Discord. And super chats are open as well if you want to join the conversation. Let's pull it up. Let's get to it. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to this beautiful interview where, they're not very happy. And I'm not either, dude. I think a lot of us aren't. Some of us are, there's people out there who are still holding out hope with Trump that everything's going to be great. I don't know. I think eventually everybody's going to turn.
Super
eventually.
Chatted $1.99, 99-cent squad.
Shout out to the 99-cent squad. Well, that was $1.99, which is even better than 99 cents. Thank you, MHL mods. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, let's get to it. One thing people do all the time when I react to shit like this is they complain about me adding commentary. I'll try to not interrupt too much, but of course I'm going to interrupt. So, try to have some patience, okay? Okay.
Israel forced your hand to launch these strikes against Iran. Did that pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready. And we've had a very, very powerful impact.
It's almost just childish to see Trump in the White House spin. Well, actually, I forced Israel to do it. This is when Trump just becomes grating. All those things we thought were charming 10 years ago or endearing or funny. Now it's just grating and insufferable. He's obviously full of it. There's nothing true about that at all. This idea that, like you say, that Iran was about to attack.
It's very true because I used to love his winning speech. Oh, we're going to win so much you're tired of it. The last time he did it, I cringed so hard and I was like, just shut the fuck up. Yeah, a lot of the things I loved about him 10 years ago, I'm starting to hate about him.
Us, really? We have two carriers there. We got a dozen warships, 50,000.
Welcome to the team, Cheetah Mane. Cheetah Mane. Thank you, brother.
Soldiers, half of our Air Force, and Iran was going to start the war against us. Does that even make any sense? That is completely made up.
And then Rubio says Israel launched an attack, so we had to because they were going to attack us. Now Trump goes, no, they were going to attack us with no information. I mean, I'm sorry, folks. I wanted to support Trump. I support the killing the carbon. That's why I hate this, because he's done a lot of good. We're watching Trump self-immolate on live television.
It is. It's a complete unraveling, and it's clear what happened there. I think, look, J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, they want to run for president in 28, so they know that their butt is on the line here. If this Iran war doesn't go well, there go their presidential ambitions. And so I think that when Rubio comes out and says, well, Israel made us do it, obviously, this is like a real-time narrative construction so that when in 28 he's questioned about it on the debate stage, if this becomes a debacle, this is hedging. He can say, Well, we didn't have any options. We had the choice. Either we go in with Israel at the beginning or Americans die. Well, I chose to, that's going to be the argument. That's going to be the campaign speech. That'll be the, screenshot this. In a few years, that is what he's going to say on the debate stage. We had a choice. If we didn't act, then more Americans would have died. And I stood with Trump. We made the bold decision to go in and blah, blah. That is clearly going to be the answer.
And by the way, you're on a roll. You're on a roll. We got a whole other hour coming up, but let me just stop you. I said the first of the show, they're going to use the insurance company shutting down the Strait of Hormuz as the claim that we've got to put a beachhead on the Iranian side so they can't close it to secure it for trade. I said I believe that'll be the excuse for boots on the ground, which they floated in the last 2 days.
All of you guys who were, not that long ago, pretending to be anti-war, pretending to be against, wanting Trump in because he's not the war guy, and then all of a sudden now you're like, yeah, war, great, war with Iran's great. It's so weird how you guys flip like that. Like maybe you want to be part of a cult? Because I guarantee you, all you Trump supporters, not the neocons, obviously the neocons are always for war, but all of you like MAGA guys, you all talk the same way I talk. And you were like, yes, Trump's great, no more wars. He's the no new wars guy. And now all of a sudden you're like, anybody that's calling this out, you attack them. It's weird, man. It's weird, the flip, dude. Like, I'm not going to be part of a cult. I'll once again say, I want the war to go great. I want us to win quick and easy and whatever, but this is still a betrayal and it's not going to be quick and easy. It's going to be a fucking disaster. Okay. It's going to be an embarrassment and it's going to rob more of the future of this country. And it's going to hurt our economy. It's going to hurt the dollar. It's going to hurt our children. Cause it's like $1 million every fucking missile we shoot down. Like, okay. Yeah, we can afford that, guys. Yeah. We can afford to do that forever, huh?
Which Eric Prince freaked out about, rightfully. Ladies and gentlemen, he just put this out. Show the timestamp on this, guys. Scroll down. Pull it up. I just saw this now. Trump is now saying he signed an executive emergency order basically for war. If anybody tries to close the strait, it's already closed. So this is him using economic emergency powers to have an unofficial declaration of war. Nick, this is horrible. This is really bad. This is boots on the ground. So this is just a.
Remember when we actually used to have to declare war and like everybody had to vote for it? And that was sort of like a representation of the American people voting for it because our representatives could get in there and vote yes or no. Remember then? Those times? Wasn't that night? When's the last time that happened? Like World War II? Now the people have no say. We just go to war whether we want to or not.
A few minutes ago. What do you make of this, Nick Fuentes?
Well, it's like I said, we're being drawn in here. That is really the operative word. Nobody wants this. It's not in our interest. We are being slowly drawn in. And what that implies is that step by step, we're being dragged further into this. And that's always what happens. It always starts with, we're just putting maximum pressure sanctions. Well, we just killed Qasem Soleimani. Well, we just backed a cyber attack. It's always, we just did this one time. And all it does is increase our liability. It just increases our stake in this disaster. And so it was very obvious. Okay, we go in with the bombs really hard. We destroy the Navy. We destroy the missile launch platforms. Okay, well, then you get this logic like, well, you break it, you bought it. Now Iran inevitably is going to keep throwing missiles at us. We're running out of interceptors. So what do you do now? Iran is going to close the Strait of Hormuz. That's going to shut down 20% of the oil trade. What do you do now? Again, you're being drawn in step by step, and our share of this, our stake in this, is always increasing until you wake up and you find you're in this unthinkable scenario. So that's why I say I don't know that we can rule out boots on the ground in the future.
Oh, but that's the plan. People go, oh, the executive order just says they'll protect the ships. Yeah, they're going to do it with troops. I already saw it.
They're still doing this format even on a 2-hour fucking interview. Yeah, I hope there's no boots on the ground, but I think that's going to be inevitable at some point. I think we are going to see boots on the ground. I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're going to see another prolonged forever war with boots on the ground that are going to cost. It's going to cost a ridiculous amount of fucking money. And yeah, we can afford it, guys. Right? It's not like we're in massive amounts of debt and the dollars. Yeah, we can afford it. We can afford another forever war, boys.
Explaining this for decades because I've studied history, I've studied sociology, anthropology, archaeology, futurism, predictive programming, what the globalists wanted to build. Couldn't we build alternate plans and dreams? Because humans build what we dream, made in the image of God. And now we see the old globalist order falling apart. We see Trump trying to fill the vacuum with a bunch of American power projection. And whereas I tacitly support the idea of Venezuela cutting off Cuba and Mexico, you see the aftermath, it's still a roll of the dice. But Iran is specifically for the interest of Greater Israel, with Huckabee now admitting Greater Israel, Israel admitting it, saying we're a superpower, bragging. Truly the stereotype of Israel wanting global domination and trying to control the U.S. is now a reality. Just as it was 9 months ago when they said surgical strike, nuclear program, midnight hammer. And I said this is the prelude of them psychologically giving Trump, he thinks, a victory to then sell full war, even though Chairman Kane of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and others, like Eric Prince, that talks to the president and is very smart, said, do not do it. The scenarios are too dangerous. And now the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Now the economy's in crisis. Now Iran is firing missiles never before seen.
Would we hit $100 a barrel already? Yeah, it's so great, Trump, that you got the price of oil down just so you could start a war with Iran and completely fucking... I think his legacy is cooked after this, to be honest.
Come in and then evade the interceptors. They're not surrendering. They just killed more of the leadership trying to elect a new Sauron on the Council of 12. And you study their power setup, it just gets more psychotic as you go deeper, and they're thousands deep. So this does nothing. And then the big bombshell, we'll cover this first with Nick Fuentes for the next hour and 45 minutes. Appreciate him joining us. Marco Rubio, to hedge his bets yesterday, we'll play the clip in a moment, says, oh, yeah, I mean, we had to go in because we give the weapons, that's why, to Israel, and so Iran's doctrine is to hit us and all our bases and any country that has our bases, so we had to preemptively hit them, or the missile attacks would have been much worse. So that's like, I had to attack you before you attack me. And then I said at the start of the show, and I said, Trump doesn't want people to know that the tail's wagging the dog. He's going to get pissed. Sure enough, he said in the press conference with the German Chancellor Merz, oh, no, Israel didn't do this. Oh, we always attack during the day. No, you don't.
I got a fresh pot of coffee. I don't need to brew another. Yeah, I got a fresh coffee because it's going to be a long one. This is a 2-hour episode, and with me interrupting, this might go 2-3 hours. So buckle up.
Oh, that's way more dangerous for so many things. The stealth profile, just with the light hitting the wings, creates a bigger resonance. Okay, because of ionization happening and other issues. And there's more condensation during the day, and it just goes on and on. It's not good to do these attacks. We never do them during the day. That's why I said they're going to hit Saturday about 6 o'clock U.S. time, the middle of the night over there. That turned out was the attack plan. Israel attacks first, hits the underground base with the Ayatollah meeting. This was Israel literally dragging us in to the beginning of a third world war. And now Rubio's like, oh, no, Israel didn't drag us in. You can't deny the fact that 200 Israeli aircraft, 30 attacked the command base in Tehran with precision-guided AI bombs. And that Israel, we now learn, has hacked into all the cameras and, of course, released the video of them being blown up in the bunker. And
fuck Marco Rubio. He's still little Marco, dude. This is part of why Trump is making the decisions, because he's putting these fucking neocon idiots like Marco Rubio next to him. And they try to sell us like Marco Rubio's, he's changed. He's the greatest ever. He's MAGA. No, he's still a neocon piece of shit. And Trump is surrounded by neocon pieces of shit. And I don't know. He's enacting their plans now. Like, it's basically neocons running Trump.
Rags. Oh, we're in all their cameras.
This was always the fear.
It's just unbelievable. So Israel's trying to get us all killed. Netanyahu's trying to get us all killed. Tucker Carlson's totally right that Bibi's out of control. Israel's out of control. And Nick Fuentes is totally vindicated in his predictions of all of this. Because last year, during the election 2 years ago, he said, Trump's going to go to full war with Iran. And I put pressure, we all did, and hoped that what happened last year, 9 months ago, wouldn't go all the way. But now we're here. And you read the Israeli papers and see the Likudniks, they don't even think about geopolitics. They don't think about the Strait of Hormuz closed and China all angry with half its oil cut off. They just literally have all the articles. We run America. We're the superpower. Yeah, we're going to get Turkey next. I'll play the last Israeli prime minister bragging.
I'm sorry. I've been seeing this the last couple, ever since I've come out that, like, obviously I'm against regime change in Iran. Like, we all were. Hello, we were all against it. All of a sudden, you guys flipped. But people just literally make up weird shit in the comment section. They're like, yesterday episode, Trump, Pink Trip was for the Iran war. Now I've never said I was for Iran regime change. I am going to hope for the best outcome for America in the world and that we go in there and we win and it's quick and easy. And it's as easy and painless as everybody that supports it wants to paint it out to be, which I don't think is going to happen. I mean, that's pie in the sky bullshit, but let's hope. And now you're saying I endorse Lindsey Graham. What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
We may have to hit Saudi Arabia.
Stop making up shit in the comment section, because the people who watch this show don't fall for that shit. They know you're just going to get the few people who have no fucking, like they haven't seen the show and don't know how I feel about things. It's just weird how willing people are to just make up shit.
So we got megalomania going on right now.
Ooh, hot coffee.
And we have little time to turn this back. So let's go to clip 16. This is Marco Rubio. Yesterday, like, hey, it's no big deal. Israel struck. We had to. So literally saying Israel drives our policy. This is an admission. Now they're trying to put that back in the bottle. I don't care what Rubio said. I said that Saturday. We already know this. So now he gaslights and says, oh, no, they didn't. Oh, no, they did. Here's the clip.
The States conducted this operation with a very clear goal in mind.
Oh, okay. Sorry, John. You meant President Trump. Yes. Okay. I agree with that. Sorry. I thought you were talking about me. People that the Trump supporters, who I'm a Trump supporter, by the way, have been turning on me hardcore lately. You know, the ones that screamed at us about being panicans the first time Trump attacked Iran. And like, I don't know. There is a little cult forming now around Trump, and it's very disappointing. But that cult is not going to be the cult, whatever. We're going to lose the fucking midterms. So I hope this is all worth losing the midterms, having another open borders president, because that's what the cost of this is. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy losing the midterms. Maybe then you'll flip and you'll be like, oh, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, it was a bad idea to start another forever war. But right now, some of you are so fucking delusional that you think Trump's still going to win the midterms. Republicans are going to do great. It's like, dude, you guys need to wake the fuck up. This is a disaster politically. It's going to be a fucking bloodbath in the midterms. Just watch.
I see a lot of reporting. I don't understand what the confusion is. Let me explain it to you, and I'll do it once again as clearly as possible. Perhaps you'll report it that way. The United States is conducting an operation to eliminate the threat of Iran's short-range ballistic missiles and the threat posed by their Navy, particularly to naval assets. That is what it is focused on doing right now, and it's doing quite successfully. I'll leave it to the Pentagon and the Department of War to discuss the tactics behind that and the progress that's being made. That is the clear objective of this mission. The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true, because in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
So essentially what he's saying is Israel dragged us into the war. And now he's trying to deny he said that.
So Israel hits them. So we have to go to full war now. And they try to claim, oh, we're just trying to get their missiles now. No, Trump says, oh, we killed 40-something. Now we're going to kill the rest. It's about regime change. So these are clear promises broken. This is clearly unconstitutional. Didn't get congressional authorization. This is full war. It's out of control. I appreciate Nick holding while I did a 10-minute intro. Nick Fuentes is our guest. And again, people say, this guy's pro-white. This guy's whatever. We have major universities saying no whites allowed. We have whites of the devil must be exterminated. New York Times. This is the natural response to that. So I don't want to hear a bunch of stuff.
ST.0 Neon super chatted $2. Our world is nothing but chess to them.
Yeah, because they're isolated from this shit, right? It's not the elite political class that's going to be fucking dying in Iran, right? They're fine. They own all assets, so inflation is just great for them because they have assets, so their assets go up in value. They're not holding American dollars like the regular fucking citizens that are going to get fucked over by this. Thank you. And yeah, thank you for the super chat, Saint Onion. Just another reminder. Anytime I've covered this Iran war, even though I've not shown people getting killed, I mean, there's nothing except, hey, this is a bomb going off or something. YouTube has demonetized me every time. And this is Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes. It's going to demonetize me as well. So your support is much appreciated. Thank you, guys. I
always want to say that as a premise right up front. So, Nick, you told us what was coming 2 years ago. You've been proven right. You're like the new Alex Jones being right on things. So I want you to give your take on what's currently happening and then what you predict is going to come next. And is there any way to get Trump to extricate himself from this bear trap?
Well, I'll take the last question first. I think the answer is no. And I was very pessimistic about the prospect of that going into this administration. As you know, in 2024, I said that Trump is the Iran war candidate. It was inevitable that Trump would take us to war. And as a matter of fact, I think that's a large reason why he got elected in the first place. I think that if you look at the election in 2020, it was obviously stolen and rigged. And so you say, well, how did he then come back and win in 2024? Well, clearly the riggers had to stand down and let him take office. And whether that's a combination,
I don't know if you can say the riggers. I mean, that's going a little too far. I think he makes a good point here, though, because it did seem to flip. Like the establishment was all of a sudden like not that fucking deranged about Trump. Maybe there were some behind the scenes meetings where Trump's like, "I tell you what, boys, yeah, we'll go to Iran. We'll do it for you. We'll do it."
Nation of the media, social media.
Central Washington with the 10 gifted. Thank you, Central Washington. Jesus Christ, brother. Thank you so much. Welcome to all the new members. Say thank you to Central Washington. Very generous. Thank you, brother.
Whatever you want to say, they let him win. And I think they let him win because they knew that unlike Joe Biden and unlike the Democrats, he was going to have no hesitation, no reluctance whatsoever to engage Iran and its proxies, which, of course, he then did throughout 2025 and 26. So as to whether he can extricate himself from the situation, I don't think so. I think that over and over, we see the same pattern where whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, Israel triggers a confrontation with Iran. And the United States does its best, I think, in both cases, in a Democrat or Republican administration, to mitigate the severity of the confrontation. So Joe Biden used deterrence. I believe that Donald Trump last year wanted that midnight hammer strike to be the end of the nuclear program and one tap and the war. But of course, Israel has orchestrated all of these different confrontations. They're deliberately provoking and triggering them. And I think that was the same story here. What has happened, as you said, as Marco Rubio said yesterday, is that Israel came to the United States. Netanyahu came to the White House for, I believe, the 6th time since.
Owen's still around, brother. He's doing his own show. I see a lot of Owen these days, Rusty. I see a lot of them, buddy. Yeah, I'm still watching Owen. Go follow him on X. I think he's even got a YouTube channel since he's not with InfoWars anymore. Owen can be on YouTube now. I know he was doing some shows with Rex Jones. So yeah,
Trump
Owen's
took
still
office
around
for the 2nd time, and he
just not on InfoWars. Obviously, I don't think him and Alex have made up yet. Thank you, Rusty, for
Rusty
the 5, buddy.
Shackelford 6060 super chatted $5. I miss Owen Schroyer. Nick is an inferior rebound FVZK.
told Trump, we're going in. And you can join us or you cannot join us, but we're going to attack and your soldiers are going to be collateral damage. And so they forced our hand. And what is happening now, once again, is actually very much more of the same, which is that in the same way that in previous years, Washington and Tel Aviv actually diverge on their Iran policy. For example, Washington seeks denuclearization. Our doctrine is non-proliferation of WMDs. Our imperative is we don't want Iran to have the bomb. Israel, on the other hand, has always wanted regime change. And these are two completely different things. Israel seeks the termination not just of the Ayatollah, but of the entire Islamic revolutionary government. And so that tension has characterized the three-way diplomacy between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. This war is more of the same. I believe that Trump went in knowing that Israel was going in. And I believe the play, to the extent that there is any kind of a plan, is Trump wants the Venezuela.
Neon super chatted $5. Never a reason for war. I promise.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's really stupid that people think this is just going to be easy. We're just going to go in there and there's going to be a regime change. Like, no, dude, this is one of the most difficult things you can do is just go in there and try to change a regime. And it's like, it's going to, again, I probably like less than 5% chance it goes really smooth and great and the world's a better place afterwards. Most likely this is going to be destabilizing in the region and not good for American citizens at the end of the day. Because if I never heard anything about Iran in the news, I wouldn't even know Iran existed because it has no effect really on my fucking life. But now this war shit does, though. So
I'm sure that he, and I think Vance and the others as well,
thank you, brother.
They thought they would go in hard and quickly against Iran, destroy the Navy, destroy the missile production, destroy the missile launch platforms, kill some of the top brass. And the expectation is that somebody from within the Iranian Revolutionary Guard would rise up as a pragmatist and negotiate with the United States for peace. And they would maintain Iran's government structure and security architecture while being pliant or compliant with the United States.
By the way, you're not just speculating. They admit this, an insane gamble, just a crazy shot-in-the-dark gamble.
Yes, and that is the correct word. It's a gamble. That is totally a roll of the dice, whether that will happen. We just don't know that. We don't know who that might be, if that will happen. Now, further, this is why this is the ongoing divergence in Washington-Tel Aviv policy. That's not going to be enough for Israel. Even if that was possible, let's say in your revolutionary, zealot, Shiite, theocratic government, you get a faction from the IRGC that wants to negotiate with Washington after they killed the Ayatollah and half the leadership and blew up the country. Even if that happens, will this satisfy Israel? The answer is no. Because what Israel is seeking is a total regime change. They want to install a liberal, democratic government, maybe led by the Shah.
I don't know if this is true, but I've heard Trump has already tried to open up negotiations with Iran because I think he's already kind of realizing this is not going to go great. I think Trump's already seeing the writing on the wall. And Iran, from what I heard, is like, nope, you wanted war, you got it.
Or at least a transition led by the Shah. And why? So that they can manipulate the future state of Iran, as they did in Syria, as they did in Iraq, as they did in these other countries.
And that was my point from Saturday on, is you can look at this one-dimensionally, yeah, Muslims are bad, but the British and the U.S. and Israel always put worse people in, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda in charge of Syria. The idea that oh, the West is this fairy godmother creating My Little Pony heavens is bullshit.
Well, that's totally true. And not only that, but I think it's likely at this point that a hardliner regime takes power, because who's going to be left after these people watch their leaders get killed and their colleagues and their own countrymen get killed? I don't think they become more compliant. And it's a country of 90 million people. They have 1 million soldiers between all the security services. I don't know that they're just going to lay down and beg for mercy at this point. Why would they?
Americans, even a pussified Americans wouldn't do that. The Vietnamese they're not going to lay down. They're going to get more aggressive.
They will, and that plays into Israel's hands, because then what this does is it basically reignites the pretext for war. So, the language in the Trump admin is escalation. We're going to bomb them even harder. We're not ruling out boots on the ground. It can always get worse. And so maybe you get a ceasefire, a new regime comes to power, they don't surrender, and then we have to come up with a more permanent solution. And this is where now the U.S. is talking to the Kurds.
Yeah, I'll be playing RE9. The ending, I'm at the ending of Resident Evil 9, and I fixed all the issues. I'm pretty sure they're fixed now. I'll be playing that later tonight after this stream, so if you guys want to come back later and do some gaming.
And talking about the Kurds maybe potentially being a ground force.
Now they're talking about breaking
militias.
Iran up, which is the Israeli plan to break up every country there.
Right, as they did in Iraq, as they did in Syria, that's the textbook Israeli grand strategy. So yes, and that's the thing. You never see the end of the Iran war. It's always, this is just the latest climax. This is just the latest ceiling of hostilities between the U.S., Iran, and Israel, which have been ongoing for decades. And I don't think this is the end of it. So I don't know.
No,
that
I
I'd
totally
be
agree.
surprised.
Do you think Trump even? I'm not trying to give him a get out of jail free card, but I actually know what your answer is. I know you're smart. Do you think Trump even understands this? And the answer is no.
No, I don't think so. And I think he just overestimates his abilities. I'm sure that in part, maybe they did Venezuela to build up his confidence, because Venezuela is a totally different story. 28 million people. The regime's not loyal.
They did the limited bombing thing and let him negotiate and have Israel stand down. They did that thing last year, I said, to get his confidence up with Iran.
I think maybe to get the American people's confidence up, because, Venezuela was so fucking easy. It's like, oh, we can do anything. We're fucking great. I think this is part of like getting the American people to think that, oh, we can do war. It's a whole new level of war now. We don't have to. Iran is not Venezuela, clearly. It's not Iraq either.
You did say that. I remember I was down there and you said exactly that. And I think that is quite literally the play, which is you get that momentum, you get that inertia. And I'm sure they told him that this would create a deterrent effect. You do it to Venezuela, you can bring the force to Iran and say,
And
hey,
let's
look,
remember, they
look
got
what we did to
top
this guy.
psychologists, the really good ones, are studying Trump. I mean, they're pitching him bullshit, seeing what works, going back. I mean, it's disgusting.
It is, and they manipulate him. People say it's blackmail. People say they got a tape of him. I don't think it's that complicated. I think that they surround him, they saturate his information diet, and they form his opinions. They create the options. And the question is, where's the personnel? Where's Tulsi Gabbard? Isn't she the DNI? Where is she? Where's Vance? Where's Rubio? These are all supposed to be America First people that we were supposed to be excited about in the cabinet. And what we find from the Times is that not even a single one of them told Trump not to do it. And these were all ostensibly
That's always been one of Tulsi's downsides. She's a little obsessed with the Muslims and fighting the Muslims, because because of her time in Iraq has radicalized her or whatever. It's not really surprising.
Supposed to be against the endless wars, the Middle Eastern
And by
conflicts.
the way, I didn't
Tulsi
think you were
Gabbard.
wrong 2 years ago when you predicted this, or last year when you said it was. I hope we could avert this. But clearly now, if you follow Trump's psychology, I think he just doubles down. So where does that go?
So I think that it will end in regime change one way or another. What happens imminently is sort of unpredictable. It's hard to imagine how exactly the Iranians respond and what the Trump administration has up its sleeves in terms of escalation. But I think that Israel, clearly they're driving the policy. They've orchestrated all of these events. They're not letting go until there's a regime change. And what Israel wants, they get. So I think that before the 4 years are up, you're going to see a full-scale regime change. And for that to happen, there's going to need to be a ground presence. Maybe that's partial U.S., partially it's militia or it's Kurds. I believe that is what was driving the protests even a month ago. It was all in the western half of the country, in the Kurdish part. And they said that these were people clad in black and they had automatic weapons and they appeared to be trained. So I imagine it's going to be some kind of smart power, multi-domain operation.
At st.0 Neon super chatted $2. Welcome to Rome.
I was just thinking, someone said earlier, like, we're really bad at regime change. No, we don't have the stomach to do what actually needs to be done to do regime change. If we did it the way Rome did it, it'd probably be no problem, right? We'd go in there, we'd fucking murk everybody that's a problem, and then we'd put in our own little fucking American governor, and we'd run the shit. If we did it the way Rome did it, we probably could do regime change, but the American people would freak the fuck out, okay? Because that's kind of, if you're going to do war, you have to go all the way. but we want to fucking just like kind of dip our feet in, and we're not the bad guys, we're the good guys. No. I mean, if we did shit the way Rome did, we probably could pull off a regime change.
With the militias armed, maybe from Iraqi Kurdistan, which shares the border, and maybe from Turkey. And I think there's going to be some kind of force that comes in and forces a transition. I think that's, when you work out the math on that, I think that's all but inevitable. And it seems unlikely now, but it seemed unlikely that we'd be here. It seemed unlikely we'd be bombing Iran into submission, or that we'd bomb their nuclear program a year ago. It just keeps escalating in that direction.
You predicted it, because I watch your show. I watch clips almost every day, but whenever I can, I watch, when I work out, hours of it. You know.
If you don't want to massacre innocent people, then don't start wars, fuckhead. Yes, nobody wants to massacre innocent people. What do you fucking think happens in war? And if you're not willing to fucking go all the way, and you're just kind of like you're going to tend to not win wars. War is not for fucking the weak-minded, like, oh, the poor thing. No. It's time to kill people and take over. And we don't have that mindset. And it's unfortunate. This is why you don't start wars. You just don't start them if you don't want innocent civilians to die.
Every few days. You literally, it was uncanny. I remember, laid all this out 2 years ago. How did you know that? You just knew their policy?
They said it.
Yeah.
They said it openly. I appreciate you saying that. And it is true. I did predict it almost to the letter, but they were basically saying this in October 2023. Right after the October 7th attacks, the Israelis all came out and they said, this is going to be a regional war. We're going to destroy all the proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, and then we're going to cut the head off the snake. They said, we're going to reset the international relations in the region that has prevailed for 50 years. And I think what they meant by that is this Islamic crescent headed by Iran, which was only the latest one after the Baathists, after the Arab coalition between Syria and Egypt. So I think that if you're really paying attention, even to the rhetoric from Trump, everybody forgets that the Israelis were whispering in Trump's ear that Iran was trying to assassinate him. Why do you think they did that? It's because they were already laying the groundwork. That was their pre-programming to sabotage that relationship so that they could tell him when he becomes president, hey, remember, they did try to kill you. And that was always meant to spoil diplomacy between the two countries.
Sure, let me ask you this question then. Why do the Israelis for 5 years wear on a lot of their uniforms the Greater Israel map? Why do they admit it in their newspapers, then attack us and censor us when we say it, and then have dozens of articles a day, I can't even keep track of them, saying, we run America, we're the new superpower, we're going to take out Turkey, we're going to take out our allies through Obama. You know, they took out...
I've heard that too.
And put the Muslim...
Now they're like talking about fucking... Yeah, that's great. I don't want to say it, but this feels like this could be legitimately what leads to the World War III everybody's been fearing forever. We're on a path towards it right now.
Brotherhood they created Hamas. I mean, we're sitting here watching. It's not just Netanyahu, it's the other main party and their last prime minister saying we're going to get Turkey and others next. I mean, and then they think we're going to go to war now with Turkey, the biggest conventional military in Europe. I mean, it's like there's this giant buffet, and Israel's like a 1,000-pound fat person that wants us to sit there and hand feed all this at our expense. I mean, this is just megalomaniac. So I know Israel's smart in an evil way, but why do they brag? And I guess to enrage everybody else that's awake, because that just adds to the furor. Or what's going on here?
I think that is a deliberate provocation. I think that part of their entire MO is they actually need the conflict. They feed on the conflict. All of this was the result from October 7th. And after all, what was October 7th? Well, they called it the Al-Aqsa flood operation. What is Al-Aqsa? That is the mosque. That's the Temple Mount. That's the Dome on the Rock, which is in Jerusalem, which is the center really of the occupied territory dispute. That the Palestinians claim East Jerusalem as the capital, and they claim that's their third holiest mosque in Islam.
Well, China and Russia, from what I understand, they are providing technology to Iran. So they may not be involved directly, but they're doing the same thing like we did with Ukraine. They're going to send whatever support they can, short of actually being involved. I think those cluster bombs they've been talking about, which are hard to take out with the missile defense systems because they break up into multiple rockets. I think they got that from China and Russia. China or Russia, I don't know which one, but they're already involved in a way, same way we're involved with Ukraine.
And what the Jews did in Israel that precipitated the October 7th attack is they had all of these Jews go to the Dome on the Rock, go to the mosque in Jerusalem, to the Al-Aqsa compound, and they started doing their religious rites in a very provocative way. And actually, that was the precipitating cause.
And killing the red heifer.
Yes, finding the red heifer, the unblemished heifer and everything. And it was deliberately intended to provoke the Muslims into a response. And I think that the stuff about Greater Israel, the goal is the same. It is to provoke these countries into conflict, because ultimately that is the way they're going to achieve their goals, is to elicit hostility. And then that's the pretext to bring in the United States to fight their wars for them. And I think that's the playbook from day one. So that is all part of it. Telegraphing that, signaling that, that's all part of the sick agenda, sadly.
No, I agree. So let's unpack this and how do we stop it? How do we stop it? We'll be right back with Nick Fuentes. Stay with us here to live feeds now. I am cutting this announcement. It's exclusively rated. It is essential, gentlemen. Support iodizers. Get
Skip the ads.
People ask, who do I have on as guests on a routine basis? Whether they're economists, whether they're strategy people, security people, journalists, it's who is the most accurate. It's a really easy rule. I want to be accurate. I want to be smart. I want to be informed. The more knowledge I get, the more I want factoids. The more I want to, it all interconnects. And then I really disdain, on the left, right, anything, people that just pick up talking points and act like they know something. And what's frustrating is 90% of these so-called journalists and influencers, literally, you talk to them in person, they don't know anything. They say they're like deer in the headlights. My callers are infinitely more knowledgeable because, they're tuned in here. They probably were smart before they tuned in. That's why they look for something else smart. Bird of a feather flock together. But it's not about tooting our horns. It's about saying we need to save civilization and humanity. Nick Fuentes, you can disagree with his conclusions or what he thinks should be done sometimes.
I like the way he says
but
Fuentes.
You can't disagree with his analysis and the fact that he goes up against top geopolitical, White House advisors with 5 degrees and kicks their ass. So respect needs to be due. But also, it's not just the globals we're fighting. It's the low IQ people that we've woken up who are more like in high school and they want to, in a hierarchy, say, everybody's a globalist, but them. It's something that the Israelis and the other lobbies feed with bots to make us fight with each other. So we don't recognize the organic leaders that God has given us to lead us out of this. So I want to just say that right up front, that I respect Nick Fuentes because he knows what he's talking about. I can disagree on the final product of thousands of points that go together or say maybe this is better, and sometimes he's right more than I am. The difference is he knows what he's talking about. And I am sick and tired of having to debate low-grade morons that don't even know how to find their ass with both hands. So, Nick, let me throw this out at you because we got a lot of time here, and I appreciate it. But I want you to quantify before we go to these clips and unpack this and what you think's coming next, what you predict next, how we can stop this, which you already said we can't, which we still got to try. I think you're right. I'm about to evacuate to South America or something. That's where all the globalists are going. But here's my question. Looking at all of this, is there, and I want you to think about this. I know you already said no. What could we do? A peaceful demonstration? I don't know, hang something on our doorway, or liberals would say mass strike. I don't want to join them in that because then you're allied with Islam. Is there any way to get Trump off this destructive course we're on? And then maybe describe to people, because you predicted the future, where this course takes us. Nick Fuentes.
Well, as I said, I'm very pessimistic about that. And the reason being is because when you look at the numbers, it's not popular. They did all the polls this weekend. You got Washington Post, Reuters.
There are people trying to say the polls show everybody. Dude, I don't know what. This is not popular. I'm sorry. No matter who, listen to your favorite influencer, the gaslights you all day. This is not popular, and this is a disaster.
I think there's a few others. And the approval rating for the conflict is sitting at about 30%, right around 30%, maybe just under that. And Trump has to know this is an utter betrayal of his campaign promise of no new wars, and he's the peace president and so on. So as far as a massive demonstration, what is that supposed to demonstrate? That the war is unpopular? They know the war is unpopular. Is that supposed to demonstrate that we're dissatisfied? They know we're dissatisfied. And I think that gets back to the nature of it, which is that it is a gamble. And I think that Trump is counting on the fact, well, let's actually be honest for a moment here about it.
I mean, this is brilliant from the neocons perspective, because not only do they get the war with Iran, they get to utterly destroy MAGA as well. So they get two victories here. They get their war that they've wanted forever, and they get the destruction of MAGA, which they want, obviously. They want neocons back in charge of Republicans. And this is going to be a black pill for a lot of MAGA Trump supporters. They're probably going to drop out of politics and be like, fuck, there's no point. Everybody lies to me. It's gonna black pill a lot of voters that came out for Trump.
Trump is counting on the fact or the possibility that this works, that this little gambit pays off. And we bomb Iran a lot for a week. It's quick and it's hard, and then we leave and we get what we want, and there's minimal loss of life. If it is successful, I think people on our side may even be underestimating the appetite for something like that among the general public. If it's a big victory, or if they're able to plausibly claim victory, it may even be popular. And so I think Trump is actually okay with this. I think that Trump, the way he sees it, because he said this the other day, he said, I don't care about approval ratings. He said, and I'll put boots on the ground. I don't care. Now, obviously he cares on some level. But I think in his mind, this is all.
Yeah, he better care about a bunch of dead troops. I mean, you talk about we're talking. Oh, it'll make Vietnam numbers look tame.
Well, it depends on what they do. If it's a full-scale invasion, you're absolutely right, because they will try to inflict maximum casualties, and it will get ugly. It will be like Iraq.
There's obviously already special forces there before this happened. I'm talking about a real invasion to, quote, secure the Strait of Hormuz or whatever. That's how they'll start it. It's a disaster.
Right. Yeah. And I agree. And I think that, on some level, he obviously cares about these things, but this is part of the bluff. This is part of the gambit, which is, partially, I think some of the things he's saying is meant to signal to the.
Is that true? Starting next year, YouTube is going to require ID for the comment section. So essentially, in order to comment, you have to provide an ID and prove you are who you claim to be. I mean, yeah, that's going to do some damage to the bots, but that's also probably going to piss a lot of people off.
Iranians, that things could get worse. If the outcome that you desire is for a pragmatic.
I have pinktrip.com. I own that. I need to actually build it out, though.
Faction to take power, negotiate with the United States. Well, to persuade them that is the logical course, you would actually need to convince them that things could get worse.
And that's why they just had the council meeting to elect a new mullah who didn't want peace right now. They just killed them today. So he's hoping like maybe the next group's less radical. But as you said on your show a few days ago, and it's true, as you go down the chain, they get more radical and stupider.
Yes, and that is why he's trying to persuade them that it could always get worse. I'm sure in their mind, in Trump's mind, he's thinking that these Iranians expect that maybe they could ride out the storm. If they could survive, if they could hide out in shelters, then maybe there's going to be some continuity of government. And Trump is trying to persuade them that if they don't capitulate, it could get worse. The bottom could continue to fall out from under them.
And by the way,
what they really don't want.
Influence farmers will say you just endorsed Trump. No, when you war game what he's thinking, you're not endorsing that.
Right. No, we're purely speculating about his state of mind and what his approach is. And so I think
that you see the clips of you where they take you wargaming and say that's the same thing to me. That's what they do. I just want to get that out there.
They always. Yeah, well, and I consider those people to be third worldists because they're really arguing for Iran.
At ST.0 Neon super chatted $2. Control through information. The Great Reset.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing since 2016, man. All of it is like in the name of, oh, your safety, but really it's all for their ability to control what you can see.
In and of itself. Or Venezuela in and of itself, or China. And I look at Iran not as a great country. I mean, they're a Muslim theocracy, but I look at them as a country that, one, they're a sovereign state. So I don't think we have business going in and killing their leader.
Their potential to destroy us and bring down the economy. So.
Right. And I would go further than that. They balance Israel. there's a balance between Iran and Israel. I don't know that that's the worst thing in the world, because if you have two very powerful
Israel
states,
needs to be contained. Now that why are they now publicly admitting everywhere? I'm sure you've seen it, that we're taking everything, including their allies. Like it'd be like if my neighbor said, "Yeah, I just went over and screwed my neighbor's wife, and your wife's next."
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a provocation. It's intended to be provocative. They actually do not want peace in the region, and all of this is based on fueling this ongoing conflict. They don't want it.
Same reason they stood down on October 7th. Same reason they founded Hamas.
Yes, and Americans are under the impression that we're desperate to make a deal, and there's this peace that is just always elusive, always out of reach. If only the Muslims would just relax. But it takes two to tango here. The Israelis, they are the ones that actually want the conflict. They didn't want to deal with Iran. If they get a deal with Iran, that they don't get to topple the Iranian regime. If Iran gets a deal with the United States, maybe they give up their nukes on some timeline, but they also get to normalize their trade relations and diplomatic relations with all the countries in the region.
Israel wants to keep it to no man's land and keep them in the timeout box.
Yes, they want to maintain that kind of operational control like they had in Syria, where they can control the airspace and they can just drop bombs, and then they could ultimately control the outcome in that country and make it significantly weaker. So that's the sick logic of Israel's grand strategy.
We have a full sales job now by Netanyahu, Trump, and now Vance. We have the clips that it may last a little while, a long time, it may last forever. We're being sold on a forever war right now. Here's my problem. I don't want the Democrats opening the border. I like Trump killing the carbon tax. I like the no tax on tips. There's all this good stuff, but rapidly, I can ignore some stuff and hold my nose with Trump, but quickly, by the hour, I morally cannot be part of this. You're already there saying vote Democrat. I get you're saying that as a carrot and the stick, but what the hell's going on here?
I think you have to. I think you have to vote Democrat in 26, and I'll tell you why. We're being told always that the Republicans are the lesser.
There has to be a moderate fucking Democrat that promises to lock down the border, keep up the border policy that's in place, promises hopefully to lower taxes and not fucking raise them. It has to be a moderate Democrat. Otherwise, we're totally fucked, bro. If our two choices are neocon warmongers and fucking Marxist piece of shit, this country's fucked. And it might be a good idea to start looking for another country.
Of two evils
maybe it's time to do like our ancestors did and find a new spot in this world, because this is going to be fucked.
They're going to be marginally better than the Democrats. Look at all of the broken promises. Epstein files, that's huge. It's huge. And let's be honest, they tried to cover it up. It's not like they fumbled that. It's not like they made a mistake. They engaged in an active cover-up, and they failed only because of a revolt within their own party. And now Marjorie Greene is an outcast. She was like the MAGA congresswoman. She was like the one in Congress who came after Trump won the election. She's an outcast because she led the coup to get the Epstein files released. That's a big one. Then you got the deportations. They haven't started on the border wall. And even though they secured the border, look, they secured the border in 2020. What good did that do when Joe Biden came into power? Nothing, because then he just overturned all the executive orders and they came pouring in. That's why you need the wall. They haven't started it. 230,000 deportations. It isn't happening. And now we're in a regime change war with Iran. You've been around. I've been around, not as
Of course, we can't afford to build the wall, but we can afford to start another forever war, right?
long as you, but for some time. Regime change in Iran is like synonymous with the neocons' ultimate master plan. That is like the number one thing on Israel's wish list.
It's the jewel in the crown. It was the whole Middle East strategy in the Rebuilding America's Defenses PNAC plan 2020 or 2000 was this.
Yes, and even further than that, going back to clean break in 96, this has always been the plan. And for a time, we thought that was unthinkable. We thought that Trump winning made that
Yeah, I do understand his strategy. Motherfucker, Damien, Damien says, he said in 26, he didn't say in 28, at least not explicitly. Punish them during the midterms this year to show you're serious. Force change in the presidential cycle. Yeah, we need to get rid of these neocons. It's just I don't know if that's... Again, like I always say, unfortunately, a lot of politics comes down to the lesser of two evils. Who's gonna fuck me the softest? You know, who's gonna fuck me with no lube, or who's gonna be nice and actually throw some lube on as they fuck me?
Possible. So for Trump to be the one to take us there and sell it and push it and trigger it, and now we're in a regime change war with Iran, it's almost unbelievable to even say that. Thousands of American and Israeli airstrikes destroying Iran's military. Here's how I feel about it. If you will tolerate that, you will tolerate anything. Like at what point do you say no? At what point do you say there's no excuses? People say, well, if there's boots on the ground, dude, they're dropping bombs everywhere, and it's in Iran. So for me, I said that's the last straw. I'm out. And you know me, I'm the furthest thing from a Democrat. I'm far right. I'm not left wing or even liberal. I don't consider myself even a center liberal or a right liberal.
Let's talk about that. Democrats get in. Isn't that accelerationist?
No, I think that I don't know that I would characterize it as accelerationist. I would characterize it as corrective. And it's sending a message to the GOP before the big one, which is 28.
Yeah, you're saying the only leverage we've got is the wake-up call.
Right. And, 28, we got to win that one. I really believe a Republican's got to win, but we need it to be the right Republican. And I don't know that there's any other language they will understand other than to show them we're not showing up in 26. And what's more, I also think that Vance and Rubio are to blame in this as well. If they couldn't stop a war in Iran when they're in power now, how are they going to make the decision when they become the president?
Vance is a bit of an enigma to me. I know Rubio for sure. For sure. He's a neocon piece of shit. He's been in Trump's ear pushing this. I don't know about Vance. He's a bit of a wild card. I don't know what he's advising Trump to do behind the scenes.
Rubio's a deep state guy. He's been, quote, doing a good job for what we wanted till now. But Vance was an open thing. He's come out now and said we may be there in a long war. So Vance is definitely getting in line with that. In fact, speaking of the devil, let's go to those clips first. Here's Thune, the leader of the Senate, saying Trump doesn't need a war powers. He has authorization, which no, he doesn't. This is pure war, folks. This is not blow up their weapons. This is regime change. And then Vance saying the same thing and then saying basically this could be a forever war. And then I want to go through these other clips, but here it is.
Would you think the Congress would need to authorize any military action against Iran beyond the 60-day or 90-day window?
No. I think the president has the authority that he needs to conduct the activities, the operations that are currently underway there. And as you know, there's a lot of controversy around questions around the War Powers Act, but I think the president is acting in the best interest of the nation and our national security interests by ensuring that he's protecting Americans and American bases and installations in that region, as well as those of our allies.
We'll go back and you can get Nick Fuentes' take on this, but Marco Rubio yesterday. Israel launched the attack. They were going to attack us. We had to attack them because they would attack us and we attacked them. Thune just said, we attacked them, so they're going to attack us, so now we have to authorize the war. So we attack somebody, so the president doesn't have a War Powers Act because he has the power to attack somebody. I mean, this is insane. Continue.
The United States has a lot of optionality here. And, we could go for a little bit longer. We could go for a lot longer. But I think the president just wants to make it clear to the Iranians and to the world that he is not going to rest until he accomplishes that all-important objective of ensuring that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, not just for the next few years, not just because we obliterated Fordow or some other enrichment facility.
It's literally the same fucking playbook with Iraq, except then it was weapons of mass destruction. Now, it's the same fucking playbook, dude. Like, we're so fucking dumb, we're going to fall for the same fucking playbook.
But because the Iranians themselves commit long-term to not building a nuclear weapon.
So we've gone from, we successfully destroyed their nuclear stuff, which I said was BS, to now total war. Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, they said last year that the program was completely obliterated. And, we've almost even talked past the point. It's sort of interesting. Last year, the pretext for bombing Iran in the first place was that they were racing towards a nuclear bomb. When Israel hit Iran on June 13, 25, they said, well, Iran was going to strike us and they were racing towards a device. That's why we had to preempt that by striking them. And then, of course, the U.S. intervened to finish the job at Fordow and Natanz, which only we could do with the bunker busters from the B-2 bombers. Well, then in January when these protests
That's a good point, Cyber Twitch. He says, we're not falling for it this time. We just can't do anything about it, unfortunately. That's absolutely true. But there are some people falling for it.
started
But I think they're the minority. Was 30% support? I guess 30% of the people are falling for it.
in Iran, all of a sudden that shifted. And Trump came out and said, well, we were going to attack Iran, but we couldn't topple the regime in one blow. And you say, well, wait a second. I thought Israel and the United States attacked Iran last year because they were on their way to a nuke, but then we took care of it and we blew up their program. Now they're saying, well, we couldn't bomb Iran at our discretion in January because it wasn't going to topple the regime. And you say, topple the regime? I thought it was about the nuclear program. And like you say, now we're in it. Now we're in a full-fledged regime change war. And you wonder, who made this decision exactly? Who voted for this? Why is this happening? Arguably, it is within, I think, America's interest to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. And if they're about to imminently acquire them, a case could be made. I don't know that I would make it, but in a theoretical, a case could be made that the United States might preempt that by intervening in Iran.
The point is they've abandoned that cover story. And Trump says, oh, we killed 47, now we'll kill the rest. It's all about regime change now, which under the law is illegal to preemptively attack somebody saying, I want regime change. So Trump's being set up here with major impeachment charges.
Well, and they're throwing everything out there. It's the dead protesters. It's the nuclear program. It's the missiles. It's just like Iraq. It's exactly like Iraq. Oh, they're building a nuke, but also they did the anthrax plot, also 9/11. They just throw everything out there in the hopes that enough people are going to buy it. And like you said, there's nothing legal about this. What is the authorization for the use of force against Iran? Did Congress declare war? At what point was this decision made and exactly by whom? So I don't know that this is impeachable because, ironically, the Democrats support it too. Chuck Schumer came out of the closed-door hearing with Marco Rubio at the State of the Union, or the afternoon of, and said, well, this is very serious and Trump's just going to have to make his case. There's a lot of Democrats that support this, guys like John Fetterman, among others.
They're stepping back to not take any problems if it goes sideways, but they're behind it.
100%. I think so. And I don't think they would move against him for that. So
here's Trump saying that, no, he forced Israel's hand, even though on record the Pentagon admitted, no, we didn't know. They took the opportunity, so we had to hit. The Secretary of State says that Trump makes him come out and say that wasn't true. Talk about congressional hearings now. What's going to happen to Rubio when he's in front of Congress? So this is very embarrassing right now. Here is Trump saying that they made him that Trump forced Israel's hand to strike first during the middle of the day against our doctrine. And then why do you think Rubio came out yesterday and said Israel forced our hand? What do you think the impetus behind that was?
Yeah, absolutely. Democrats are loving this. They just had victory handed to them by Trump. Of course, if I was the Democrats, I'd be like, oh my God, this is a gift from God. My prayers are answered.
Here it is.
President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did that pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact.
Well, since the 80s, Iran has not launched an attack first. Every attack has been a response, a retaliatory attack. I mean, that is literally pulled out of Trump's butt, Nick.
It is. And that's exactly what happened last year, too. Israel came in and Trump said, oh, we knew they were doing it. They told us, and the whole negotiations were a ruse. It's almost just childish to see Trump in the White House spit. Well, actually, I forced Israel to do it. This is when Trump just becomes grating. You know, all those things we thought were charming 10 years ago or endearing or funny. Now it's just grating and insufferable. He's obviously full of it. There's nothing true about that at all. This idea that, like you say, that Iran was about to attack us. Really? We have 2 carriers there. We got a dozen warships, 50,000 soldiers, half of our Air Force, and Iran was going to start the war against us. Does that even make any sense? That is completely made up.
And then Rubio says Israel launched an attack, so we had to because they were going to attack us. Now Trump goes, no, they were going to attack us with no information. I mean, I'm sorry, folks. I wanted to support Trump. I support the killing the carbon. That's why I hate this, because he's done a lot of good. We're watching Trump self-immolate on live television.
It is. It's a complete unraveling, and it's clear what happened there. I think, look, J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, they want to run for president in 28, so they know that their butt is on the line here. If this Iran war doesn't go well, there go their presidential ambitions.
I mean, this did kind of stop everybody from talking about the Epstein. No one's talking about the Epstein files anymore, so I guess there's a win there, Trump.
And so I think that when Rubio comes out and says, well, Israel made us do it, obviously, this is like a real-time narrative construction, so that when in 28 he's questioned about it on the debate stage, if this becomes a debacle, this is hedging. He can say, well, we didn't have any options. We had the choice. Either we go in with Israel at the beginning or Americans die. Well, I chose to, that's going to be the argument. That's going to be the campaign speech. That'll be the, screenshot this. In a few years, that is what he's going to say on the debate stage. We had a choice. If we didn't act, then more Americans would have died. And I stood with Trump. We made the bold decision to go in and blah, blah. That is clearly going to be the answer.
And by the way, you're on a roll. You're on a roll. We got a whole other hour coming up, but let me just stop you. I said at the first of the show, they're going to use the insurance company shutting down the Strait of Hormuz as the claim that we've got to put a beachhead on the Iranian side so they can't close it to secure it for trade. I said I believe that'll be the excuse for boots on the ground, which they floated in the last 2 days, which Eric Prince freaked out about, rightfully. Ladies and gentlemen, he just put this out. Show the timestamp on this, guys. Scroll down. Pull it up. I just saw this now. Trump is now saying he signed an executive emergency order basically for war. If anybody tries to close the strait, it's already closed. So this is him using economic emergency powers to have an unofficial declaration of war. Nick, this is horrible. This is really bad. This is boots on the ground.
Yeah, I don't think people understand how bad it is if this strait gets shut down. Like 20% of the world's oil comes through this strait. India is going to be fucked because India gets most of their oil from there. So there are arguments that this is just the closing of the Strait of Hormuz could be what kicks off World War III.
So this is just a few minutes ago. What do you make of this, Nick Fuentes?
Well, it's like I said, we're being drawn in here. That is really the operative word. Nobody wants this. It's not in our interest. We are being slowly drawn in. And what that implies is that step by step, we're being dragged further into this. And that's always what happens. It always starts with, we're just putting maximum pressure sanctions. Well, we just killed Qasem Soleimani. Well, we just backed a cyber attack. It's always, we just did this one time. And all it does is increase our liability. It just increases our stake in this disaster. And so it was very obvious. Okay, we go in with the bombs really hard. We destroy the Navy. We destroy the missile launch platforms. Okay, well, then you get this logic like, well, you break it, you bought it. Now Iran inevitably is going to keep throwing missiles at us. We're running out of interceptors. So what do you do now? Iran is going to close the Strait of Hormuz. That's going to shut down 20% of the oil trade. What do you do now? Again, you're being drawn in step by step, and our share of this, our stake in this, is always increasing until you wake up and you find you're in this unthinkable scenario. So that's why I say I don't know that we can rule out boots on the ground in the future.
Oh, but that's the plan. People go, oh, the executive order just says they'll protect the ships. Yeah, they're going to do it with troops. I already saw it. People, we got a whole other hour coming up, but how people find you, Nick?
I am at rumble.com/Nick J. Fuentes. I'm live every weeknight, and I'm on Twitter, Nick J. Fuentes as well.
And I'm at Real Alex Jones on X and the Alex Jones Show on Rumble. Everybody, we've survived so much, nobody thinks we're going to get shut down. The state receiver is refusing to pay the internet bills, refusing to keep the company open. So it looks like we're shutting down this month, towards the end of the month. We have the backup network. Just be ready, people, because you survived so much, you don't take it serious. Just get ready to share. Here's where Alex is at. Because I don't cry wolf, I just survive a long time. We'll be right back with hour number 4. I'm making this announcement on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. You have until the 17th of March to take advantage of the...
It's always like we're at a rave every time. All Alex music, it's all rave music.
All because they're trying to shut down by big them. It's on the air as our main source of music.
Oh, this is a long fucking commercial break, Alex.
Am I running odd family country?
Go get you some meth, Aline Blue.
So I have a lot of facts, a lot of it over. My cerebral cortex is focused on politics. So I have a lot of facts, a lot of overlaying information in history. This is a short segment. Long segment coming up with Nick Fuentes. But it's so frustrating to actually know how this works and see what's moving on the chessboard. It's not in America's interest or anybody's interest, but tyrants. To understand the historical danger of all of this. And I don't really have words, Nick, to talk about when you look out second order, third order, fourth order consequences of this. Why privately the chairman of the Joint Chiefs told Trump don't do it. Eric Prince, many others.
See the number. We got what, 270 watching? That's awesome, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. Smash the thumbs up. Let's help get this out there. Maybe we can cross 300. Let's get this out there. This is the shit that we're not supposed to talk about or share. So I'm a bad boy.
And we have Trump and JD Vance in compilation saying we're not going to go to boots on the ground. We're not going to go to regime change. They're doing it. Can you speak to what you predict happens down this road we're going, and just there's got to be other ways of leverage. If we can't leverage Trump, who do we put pressure on in Congress to stop this, or is AIPAC too powerful?
I think what has been set in motion cannot be stopped at this point. I think that the time to do it would have been in 24, and everybody reassured us that if Trump won, well, we would pressure Trump later. I remember Mike Cernovich said that. He said, well, this is how politics works. You don't know how politics works. I do. He said, you got to get Trump elected, and then we're going to work in the admin, and we're going to fight the personnel and blah, blah. And this is, I know we've had this conversation. This is always my refrain. It's like, we tried that. We did that. We did that in the first term. And by the way, how did the first term end? Trump ripped up the 2018 nuclear deal. In 2019, we're effectively in a war with Iran.
Yeah, thanks for hyping the stream, Butter Biscuit. Is that available now? Because people were telling me before they wanted to hype the stream, but it wasn't available. So if you can hype it up, hype it up. Thank you, guys.
In 2020, he kills Qasem Soleimani. We're shooting down drones. They're attacking tankers. You can Google it. There's an article, I believe it was in December 2020. Trump actually ordered the military to attack Iran, or at least was considering it, in the lame duck session. And it was only his generals that discouraged him from doing it. So it's like, this is deja vu all over again. We live this, and we tried all that. The personnel, the voting, the Twitter campaign, the hashtags. And I think that, now Trump is going to do what Trump is going to do. And Trump, who knows why? Blackmail, persuasion, whatever. Those people are around him.
It's ego. Clearly, you said it, Howard. It's ego.
It's ego, certainly. Whatever it is, that's what we're stuck with. And I think that if you want to really get it to stop, you just got to switch up and play both sides. You got to play both sides and go Democrat. And I don't want to do it. I don't like the Democrats. I fully understand what they represent.
So look, this is Nick's strategy, if I understand right. It's to completely fuck the Republicans in the midterms, okay? To say, fuck you, Republicans. Have the Democrats take back the House and the Senate. And basically that's going to bring government to a standstill because the Democrats aren't going to be able to pass anything, but Trump be able to veto everything. And but it stops the Republicans and sends a message to Republicans so that hopefully come 2028 presidential election, we can get an actual America First candidate in there instead of a neocon. I'm thinking that's his strategy.
But what else can you do to the Republicans? All that other stuff is flaccid. Protest, tweet about it. They know if you are going to vote in November that you're really not serious. You're going to go and rah, 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 hold up the sign. But as long as they get your vote in the end, I mean, honestly, what difference does it make for them? There's a little less enthusiasm. They don't care. So I'm really, like I said, I think that we actually have to think beyond this. And we have to think the only way out of it is 28. How do we relight the flame in 28? That's all I care about. And for that to happen, maybe there needs to be a little pain. The current GOP has to suffer a little bit for it to be reborn in 28. But it's not going to be Vance and Rubio that save the day, obviously, based on this.
Well, I would say this. I may agree with you if we say we're not going to accept, we're not going to support. I would almost call it like a candidate by candidate basis. And then if somebody's a neocon, or we should do a litmus test, if they support this, they shouldn't be voted for. I almost see it as like a loyalty pledge. But let's come back because the French are sending their aircraft carrier to protect the one of the main corridors there, Suez Canal, and Trump is now basically saying they're going to send in U.S. ships into the Strait of Hormuz, which is a total trap. We'll be right back in 60 seconds. I don't want people to miss the historic point we're at right now. The fourth turning, the end of the old order, the populist revolution's happening everywhere.
Bro, that's creepy with when military commanders are saying things like part of God's divine plan. Look, I love that you're religious, but don't be making your fucking military decisions based on your, oh, this is God's divine plan. You know else? You know who else thought that? Who was the guy? Oh, fuck, I forget his name. Yeah. Jones. What was his first name? Jones. You know, the guy that went over to fucking South America, whatever, had everybody drink the Kool-Aid. He thought that was part of God's divine plan, too.
And then Trump betraying what he said he would do. I have compilations of him saying no boots on the ground, no full war. And here we are, and it's all unraveling in real time. The Strait of Hormuz has already been closed by insurance companies after Iran began to attack ships and blew up and sunk a few in the last 3 days. And now Trump signs an executive order saying, we'll do whatever we have to for open shipping. We'll put troops on the ground on the Strait of Hormuz on their side. We're going to have military escorts through there. The announcements are being made off his plan. I mean, this is escalating to the next level immediately. And this is why Eric Prince and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and others told Trump, Iran's not going to give up. You're not going to get regime change. 99% chance right away. You're not going to get it in 4 weeks or 6 weeks or a year. Now they're prepping us for just an endless war. So now we're against Europe with its plan to prop itself up with endless war with Russia. And now America has its plan for this. We didn't vote for this. We didn't sign up for this. And again, they might have attacked us.
Yeah, Marshall Applewhite's another one. Actually, that dude lived in one of the towns I grew up in Aransas Pass. He lived there for a little while. But yeah, that was part of his God's divine plan for them to, I'm just saying, bro, that's creepy when you're hearing military people talk that way.
When Israel attacked him, said Rubio yesterday, so we had to attack them. And when they hit our ships, which Iran knew that they hit a few ships, they'd close it with insurance. Then they send in the U.S. ships. Then the Iranians attack those ships. And they'll go, oh, my God, they attacked us. All we're doing is blowing them up. And then now Trump says we got to put troops on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz to protect us. I said it in the first hour. It's happening in live time. Nick, this is like a bad dream.
It is. It feels surreal. I still can't even believe it. Even though I've been predicting it and even though we're watching it, I wake up and I see the news. We are at war with Iran. And for people that are not paying attention to all this stuff, again, it cannot be overstated. This is it's literally the neocon nightmare scenario, like war with Iraq, Syria, now Iran.
This is the ghost of the neocons possessing us. This is their wet dream.
It's crazy because I thought we were beyond this. So I thought the moment for this bullshit had passed, and it's nope, psych, war with Iran.
Yes, and for Trump to be the one delivering it, that's the most surreal aspect of all of it. You could see a DeSantis doing this. You could see a Kamala Harris doing this, honestly. But to see Donald Trump on Friday night at Mar-a-Lago with the hat on, with the black curtain announcing this war, building the case against the Iranian regime, you go, what happened? What happened to this movement? You and I, we've been with Trump really since the beginning, since 2015. And when he came down the escalator, his first big move was basically to destroy this Republican support for war and the war in Iraq in particular, repudiate that whole legacy of the Bush dynasty, George Bush, Jeb Bush. And so for him now to be doing this, it really feels like it's come full circle.
And we have Lindsey Graham having orgasms on television.
I don't think that's fair to say Alex Jones and Nick are tucking their tails and giving up. I don't think that's fair. I think they're fighting for what they fucking believe in. We voted for Trump as a repudiation to the neocons. We thought we were killing the neocons in their warmongering just for him to become a warmongering neocon. So we have to call it out. We're not a cult. We're not going to go along and fucking cheerlead this bullshit. No, they're not. They're actually standing for what they believe in. So God bless these two guys.
That too. Yeah, Lindsey Graham's a huge fan of this. Well, endorsed by Trump. So, I mean, again, this is my frustration. The signs were all there. J.D. Vance said at the Republican convention in 2024, we need to bomb Iran really hard. And Trump endorsed Lindsey Graham. This time he endorsed him 6 years ago. And Trump got up, you remember, during the election, and he said, if Iran takes me out, then we're going to wipe Iran off the map. Like, all of this was telegraphed from the beginning. And really, you know who I blame, sadly? I blame the so-called plan trusters. I know that you were more bullish on Trump, but you acknowledged these were legitimate concerns. There were a lot of people that said, no,
stop. Because you've been righter than me on this, and I'm not always right. I'm right about 90% of the time. I've been very honest. So I'm gonna now mea culpa here, because when I'm wrong, I'm gonna say it publicly. I needed Trump to be real, and so much good stuff. The carbon tax, getting out of it, I can go for an hour.
We all
and
did.
It's still better than that, but you can't have lesser two evils. I have the Democrats trying to put me in prison. I just got subpoenaed again to defend. When I got Arctic frost, I got to go to Congress and provide my documents because going after, Jack Smith. So the Democrats are trying to put me in prison. They run show trials on HBO. So obviously, it's not that I'm being paid off by Trump. I've been persecuted for supporting him. So I want to now pay out on this. I want to save the country, secure the border, find the missing kids. I want to believe. But I'm not in a cult. I'm not delusional. So I was like, I'm critical. This is overall good. But and now I'm just like, now I'm having to think of the off ramp. Nick, we've talked about this privately. You're targeted too. They're trying to kill you at your house. This is your name's Nick J. Fuentes. I'm Alex E. Jones. We're real people. We're under attack.
We just got to call balls and strikes. To me, that's how you do it. I think Alex has been pretty decent with that, although he's tried to salvage, because I think what he says, I think he's being honest. We want the real Trump. We want the Trump that ran. We want that delivered, and we have hope for that, but that's gone now. That's completely gone. And you got to call balls and strikes. And when it comes to the Iran war, it's not just a ball. He didn't just barely miss the plate. The ball flew off into the fucking crowd and hit a child in the crowd. This was so bad. Yeah, I feel for Alex, because I'm in the same boat. Like, God, I wanted to get the good Trump, the Trump that ran, the America First, the cutting taxes, the no new wars, and it's very apparent that's gone. It's very apparent we were sold a whole heap of bullshit.
So we're in the real world. You do what you think's right. I do what I think's right. You're not paid by people. I'm not. We're just our fans. So to me, I needed Trump as my lifeboat. May not be perfect, but it's the lifeboat I've got, and I'm watching it sink by its own doing, and so this is horrifying, and so, but I can't sign on to covering up Epstein. I can't sign on to World War III. And so that's why I tried to promote the optimism, because I fucking need this, man. Like, I want to fix the country. I want to turn it around. So it's not that I was delusional. And I still hope we can turn it around, but I just... Sorry, go ahead.
Don't cry, Alex. You're going to make me emotional, buddy.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it. And
I'm beyond crying. I'm just, at this point, I'm just, I get, what is it? Clown pilled? I'm clown pilled now.
Listen, like I said, I don't think that everybody
take the clown pill, boys,
that supported Trump was being dismissive about these concerns. I get it. We all wanted to believe. I was 18 years old when Trump ran in 2016. And I remember getting in fights with people. This is my whole life too. At 18 years old, I wore the MAGA hat at Boston University, one of the most liberal campuses in the country, and became a pariah on my college campus.
Something you sacrificed. It's sad to see something you fought and bled for die.
Yeah, and that's my whole adult life. I know that's a huge part of your life also.
Imagine if Alex would have gone TDS. Let's imagine this alternate reality, where Alex would have been 100% against Trump and he would have gone full TDS. He'd probably still be on YouTube right now. He'd have a huge platform. So the amount that Alex sacrificed to support Trump for the hope that Trump would fucking be America first and deliver for the people. You can just throw that out now. All that suffering for nothing so we can have another fucking forever war. I feel for Alex, man, because he has suffered a lot.
And now we're witnessing it's totally unraveling. It's an utter and complete betrayal. It's heartbreaking in many ways.
And when I try to salvage it with people, I get attacked as a liberal, which is when these people doing that can't even find Iran on a fucking map.
Yeah, well, what's called for is for us to be sober-minded about the entire thing, because there's a lot of Trump haters.
I've been a realist the whole time, but was hoping, and now I'm just not even hoping. I'm just going to be a realist.
Yeah, I mean, and really, it's okay to have hope. I mean, we hope for a better future, but we got to be brutally honest about what this administration has become. It's like, I saw this game play out in the first term, and I remember I went to D.C. in 2018. I met with people from the admin, and me being like 20, I was like, is Q real? Is there a plan? Is there a 5-dimensional chess? Is this all like going to end in building a wall and so on? And they looked at each other and they laughed in my face and they said, bro, I said, it is worse than you could possibly imagine.
Oh, I've been at the top of the Justice Department, and they literally they laughed at me, and they said, no, we mean well, but you have no idea about it. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, and anyone will tell you that. Anyone from Trump 1, any of the good guys from Trump 1, any of the people in Trump 2, they will tell you the exact same thing. It is brutal.
And that's right, and I will not come on air and lie to my audience about the situation, because I believe in them. If they know how desperate it is again, we will rise to the occasion. I mean, I'm not going to sell hopium. It's just that clear.
And it's tough. I mean, it's tough because you're right. I mean, what other option do we have? That's really the question. People say, well, what else is there?
Well, that's it. I'm so sad to have to start turning loose of something that had so much potential.
Oh, don't cry, Alex.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like
not only that.
Like a grandma dying or something.
Well, it's sort of literally. I mean, he's kind of getting up there, So it's very tragic and sad. And sadly, there's no alternative. I think it would be a little bit easier on all of us if there was any underclassmen here.
Exactly. I was about to say, there's no stable of new horses here.
You guys talking shit about Alex and the Y2K. Were you alive to remember the amount of fucking fear everybody had over Y2K? A lot of people thought it was going to be a disaster, and it ended up not being. It ended up being just some grift that the news ran on us so that they could get views. I guess Alex fell for Y2K. We all did.
Yeah, and I see that as a big failure of Trump, because it should have been a whole new stable. It should have been a new generation of MAGA congressmen and senators. Like, where's our AOC? Well, they all got cannibalized. Madison Cawthorn got destroyed by the Republicans. Matt Gaetz got destroyed by the Republicans. Marjorie Greene so you had a few of them.
And
not as many as there should have been.
Gets vaporized by Susie Wiles.
Yep. Susie
By the way,
Wiles,
I confirmed 3 months ago with Flynn. He showed me the stuff. They're running opposition on hundreds of people. Flynn, myself, by the way, I told you this. They're running major opposition research on not the Democrats, but on us, because they know we're true. That's another level of this. Like, how's that feel?
And people have no idea, but that has always been the struggle inside the GOP. That is always how it's been, which is that the establishment is always at war with its own base. This happened with the Tea Party.
It's fratricide.
I don't even know that it's fratricide, because these people aren't even like us. These
I agree,
people
but like, we're the real deal, and what does the doppelganger always do? The thing, or the body snatcher, it kills the real thing.
I have the answer. Alex Jones, you need to run for fucking president, bro.
Exactly.
I'd vote for Alex. I mean, look, just as a fuck you to the system, I'd vote for Alex Jones.
Exactly. Well, it's the invasion of the body snatchers.
Yeah, so they're the body snatchers. You're right. It's not fratricide. The body snatchers want to get rid of the real one.
Yeah, it's that skin suit. They take the organic mass movement, they try to mimic it as best as possible, and then they eliminate the actual movement. That was the Tea Party. I just talked to Michelle Malkin this week, and she said, we ran the same playbook 20 years ago. We ran the same playbook in 2006 when we would campaign against the rhinos in favor. Yeah, I know you guys have little.
No. The crew's telling me about clips. I was listening to you. They were like, Alex, you're supposed to reveal this big White House thing, which will the next segment. I was listening to you. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so, this has been a multi-generational struggle. You go back to the John Birchers and National Review. You could go back to the paleocons and the neocons, Pat Buchanan, Sam Francis, Joseph Sobran versus the neocons, Tea Party, right up through to the Trump movement. And I always sort of knew right around 2018, 2019, that the biggest gap is that Trump is not an institutionalist or an institutionalizer. He is actually not going to create the so-called movement conservatism of the Trump generation. Who's going to fill in the gaps? It's all the same people. It's all the same moneyed interests.
What you just said is beyond key. His strength is he's not.
You imagine someone says, I've been listening to AJ for way too long. The boner pills and the colloidal silver got out of hand. Imagine Alex as president giving the Oval address or his fucking State of the Union, and then like 10 minutes into it, he takes a break and starts fucking talking about methylene blue or whatever. I bet you if he was president, he'd still be hawking his supplements.
Institutional.
That'd be funny though.
But when he leaves, that's our greatest weakness because there's nothing staying. You
can sell your supplements from the White House as long as you keep us out of wars, Alex. I'm okay with that.
Nothing left there.
Exactly. And that's why it's now backsliding. The personnel, there is no cadre of radical Trump supporters to fill up this White House. He still has to rely on the old guard.
Let's look at Iran in a good way, a bad way. They've got even more radicals below, so they knock out the elite. It doesn't matter. They just get stronger. With us, there's no second bench.
Well, yeah, there's no bench at all. Trump said it himself today. He said, I'm MAGA, not Tucker, not Megyn Kelly. He said, it's just me.
No, you're just another fucking neocon now, Trump. And you just killed MAGA. So yeah, if you're MAGA, well, good. You can die with it.
And you go, really? It's not Tucker. It's not Marjorie. It's not Thomas Massey. It's just you and your war with Iran and your Epstein files.
Any real thinker, I've told you probably earlier, Nick, I respect you. Disagree with something you say, but you're a leader. You care. I'm like, you're the future, Nick. We're counting on you. A real leader immediately recognizes younger bulls that are going to lead the people in the future. That's what a tribal leader does. With Trump, it's this ego thing where anybody else being strong is bad. And as he gets older, it gets worse. It's sick.
You're right. That's like a boomer thing. That's the baby boomers, or he's 1946. This is like a baby boomer thing. They will not let us have anything. They're hoarding.
This is what, if you guys don't remember, the Iraq war, that's what brought us $4 a fucking gallon gas prices. So get ready for that. Go fill up right now, boys. Go fill up every tank you have right now.
The wealth. They're hoarding these fiefdoms. You're right. It is an ego thing. And at the end of the day, that is really his issue. Nobody wants to admit it. It's actually brave of you to say that because that's a huge thing. A lot of people say, oh, it's his advisors. He's getting bad advice. It's his personnel. It's him.
No, I said back in March, it's him coming up, Epstein. All because he loves the power of protecting all these scumbags. He's not involved. He loves the power over them. He's not even in the blackmail. He's just in general, I'll take care of it. Bullshit, you will, man. And that's my concern is how do I not go totally psychotic and go all out anti-Trump because I still want to get Republicans elected because they're better. That's a real needle to thread here.
Are they better?
That's what I'm trying to do, Nick.
It's tough. Like you said, I mean, because we're also trying to stay out of jail. We're literally between a rock and a hard place. The Democrats want to kill us and flood the country with immigrants. The Republicans want to send us to die for Israel. So you go, okay, well, I mean, it's really hard to win here.
Todd Blanche, let me tell you, to be clear. They're trying to figure out how to put several hundred of us, just confirmed insiders. They told Flynn, they're trying to put us in jail, bro. We don't have 3 years anymore. We have Todd Blanche trying to do it now.
Under what pretext?
They just like to open a national security investigation under Obama in 2013. They got the FBI. We know because the FBI doesn't like it. As bad as they are, they're like, what is this? Like, really? They got jihadis, sleeper cells. They are literally over 200 people. They have FBI, national security dragnets going on us right now. When I said opposition research, that's just the name of it. No. The Republican Party is now looking at all of us that have any soul, and they see us as the enemy.
We got to get out of Dodge, man. I don't know what country.
I think, honestly, the Republican establishment that's still very neoconish, they want to kill MAGA. And I think this is perfect for them because not only do they get the Iran war, they've won it forever, they get to murder MAGA.
You're dropping in at, but that's the saddest part. The whole country's coming down. The GOP's coming down. It's hard to kind of figure out what that next move is. That's why, for me, I keep my options open.
Used to head up the Army and then the Defense Intelligence. He got confirmed. He won't give me classified stuff, but they're like, sir, they got a whole opposition thing to take us down, and you're at the top. And they say it's a bunch of names. And he's like, so, yeah, no, they're literally Not worried about Democrats. They're going to put them in jail. They're literally worried about loyal Americans. And to the Pentagon's credit, they're like, this is bullshit. Like, I've had all these Delta Force current guys, all of them call me, thank you, we're not going to go along with this. They're all freaking out, which is the good news. They have the Pentagon, bro, tasked to spy on us as the enemy when we're the real Americans. I mean, imagine the wake-up call in Tampa that they're like, we're not tasked for Muslims, we're tasked for Nick Fuentes and General Flynn.
100 likes. Thank you, boys. Thank you.
And Alex Jones. Yeah, just give you that news flash.
Yeah, well, that's the story of the admin. You know, Bill Clinton is being protected. Hillary, Obama, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's always this cope, like, well, you know, here's how Trump can still
That's
win.
what
Here's
I'm saying.
why.
You're right, because we learned this the last 60 days. I told you this on the phone. I don't know if it got through because I talk fast. Dude, we're the focus because they know we're not sellouts. They're like, looking, we got it all. We got Trump under control. Who will block us? And they're literally getting rid of Ed Martin, creating fouls on us. And they're pissed because there's nothing there. What, like your most decadent action is what, getting a pizza, right? That's your big party. Exactly, me too. I don't mean that's a pedophile thing. I mean, like you're getting a steak or whatever.
Yeah, right. No pizza, Alex. Let's stick with steak, all right? No pizza, no hot dogs, okay? Please.
Literally, though, are enraged because they can't find anything on us. They won't charge the Muslims. They won't charge the Somalis stealing billions. But literally, the eye of the White House is on us because they're worried we'll influence Trump.
That's how it's always been. You know, the GOP has always been cannibalizing the authentic base. That's just it. And that's why I've always said the GOP is really our biggest enemy. It's not even the Democrats, because at least the Democrats are the devil, you know. And you know that they're your enemy, but it's always these Republicans. They say, we're going to take the fight, hold the line, all this. And then they always turn the cannons inward and shoot at their own people. That has always been the story. So, you know, I tell my followers, take your own side. The GOP is not looking out for you. They're not fighting your enemies. They're not securing advantages for you.
America first in our America survival. In fact, I'm going to start the America Survival Party. America first is great. America only. How about America Survival? We need to understand it's up to us. Nobody's coming to save us.
And that's what people got to get through their heads is it's not going to be a top-down thing. It's going to be incumbent on all of us to get involved. Getting involved in government, getting involved in the universities and the private.
I'll once again announce my I'll be running for president in 2028. Okay, me and Alex, dude. Alex, I'll be your fucking VP, bro.
Sector, because
we really do. I think more regular people need to start running for office locally. However, whatever the fuck, just why not, dude?
Yeah,
why not?
Obviously, we tried it with Trump.
We just got like the YouTuber fucking Brandon Herrera just won, or I think he's going to a runoff, but he's going to win. So I don't know. We all need to fucking, you know, if you're in a position where you can run and affect change, do it.
People say you're not going to vote your way out of this. Surely we're not going to solve it just by electing the right president and expecting everything to flow from the top down. It doesn't work that way. So I agree with you completely. It's a shame because we had an opportunity here. Like you said, we really had a major opportunity. Trump won the popular vote, for crying out loud, on a platform of mass deportations and everything. And what it has secured is a corporate tax cut for the rich, a war for Israel, Epstein cover-up. You go, okay, so what are we doing here? What does it profit us?
Yefa-67 super chatted $10. Ping for President 2028. John MacArthur as VP.
Should I don't know if John will like that. John wants to be president. John wants all the power.
Actually, to even participate in the charade.
Hope you're doing good, buddy.
So I'm interested in a revolutionary change or nothing at all. And I know a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people think that's extreme. And they remind me, yeah, well, you know, if the Democrats get in, then this, that, and the other. I'm interested in either we get the change or we don't. But if the Republicans are
compromise
marginally...
has gotten us here.
Right.
And I respect your stuff is, you know, super accurate. So I respect accuracy. We should still try to think of leverage points. Because Trump did shut up when he kept saying vaccines are great with Bill O'Reilly and stuff until a few years ago. And he finally shut up and brought in Kennedy. They've done some good.
Honestly, look, I mean, I understand everybody's not happy about Nick's plan here to vote Democrats, but what else can we do other than to show them, hey, if you want political power, well, you're not going to get it anymore. If this is how you're going to behave, you're not going to win. I don't know. I don't know what else we fucking do at this point.
He never admits guilt, but sometimes he'll back off. I think we shouldn't give up yet. How do we put pressure on Trump to pull out of this insanity? Because we got to try, even if it's impossible.
I mean, the most you could do is express your dissatisfaction. I don't know that there's going to be a 1 million man march anytime soon. Honestly, I think the war is actually, they say it's not that popular, but I think people are apathetic. So what do you do to pressure Trump? I mean, you can call your congressman.
Right now, it's as popular as it's going to get. As this drags on, every day it's going to get less and less popular, okay? It's going to follow the same trajectory as the Iraq War, where everybody supports it at the beginning, rah, rah, go America. And as it drags on, more of our troops die, more citizens die, and it becomes just a quagmire of just throwing money out the window. $1 million of your tax money being used every time, and we need to shoot down one of these cheap-ass $10,000 Iranian rockets. That's your fucking tax dollars, dude. That's your tax dollars. Million. I mean, it's just it's unfathomable.
420 super chatted $4.99. Can't believe I like Fuentes now. The guy needs a GF because his take on chicks is super embarrassing. He sounds like a baby. But F*** it. I'm a fan now.
Yeah, you know, I have like I've said before, a love-hate relationship with Nick. I think he's really intelligent. I think when it comes to foreign policy, he's very intelligent. He seems to be really informed about shit. I just think sometimes he hurts himself and he hurts the movement he cares about. But yeah, it's hard not to like him if you really like watch him for a long time. Although we all need to learn to not hate somebody just because we have disagreements. So I have disagreements with Nick, but that doesn't mean I have to hate him just because I have a few disagreements with him. We got to learn to come together with the anti-war. Like if you're against the war, okay, great. We should be able to come together and work together.
And your congressman can take it up with Mike Johnson or something. But I think all we could do is really buckle up, and we could wait for this to wash over us.
Thank you for the super chat, brother.
I think at the minimum, you just make it clear we're not on board. I mean, burn your MAGA hats. I've tried it. You know, I went out to a little bit to Michigan in 20.
I have never bought any Trump merch, but if I did, I would be tempted to burn a MAGA hat right now if I had one. But I never bought merch. Who buys merch, dude? Lame.
Before, to try to get people not to vote and try to get some attention. We bombarded Truth Social. We bombarded Twitter. It didn't do any good. They're not listening.
Then I want to get good Republicans elected. I'm doing this to get their attention. And they spun it. You were actually trying to stop votes. I got some horrible news for radio listeners. TV viewers just saw it. Just like I said at the start of the show, Trump has now announced forever war. No, we're not talking about a Hollywood movie with Tom Cruise. We're talking about, he just said 1984 forever war. Reuters. They're printing the article now. What the hell is that, Nick Fuentes? I mean, this is just, it's like Trump is an old barn.
Cheers, boys. Forever war. Cheers it up.
Yeah, it's a sight to behold, especially for us. I think that a lot of people got red-pilled after the pandemic. Maybe they don't realize the gravity of this, but this is just like, what else is there even to say? I mean, at this point, this is the same guy that came down the escalator and said the war in Iraq was a big mistake. We should have never been there. We knew they had no weapons of mass destruction. And now he says we're fighting a forever war against Iran for regime change. You know, you just have to shake your head and you wonder how people are still on board. That's honestly the worst part is you go on Twitter and people are still making excuses. They say, oh, it's about China. Well, we'll wait until there's boots on the ground. You go, really? I mean, I don't know what people need to see for them to realize that we got tricked, we got betrayed. Now we need to try something else. But yeah, it's shocking to hear these things. He goes, I don't have the yips about boots on the ground. You don't have the yips. We're going to deploy to the Middle East again? Seriously? And then they say, we can go indefinitely. We're going to fight forever. Now, in fairness, I think that when he says that, that is rhetoric. And that
obviously it just sounds strong, but the point is it's antithetical to what he ran on.
Right.
I mean, because that's what the Pentagon wants is a 20-year war like Afghanistan that's just a big moneymaker.
It is antithetical. And here's the thing. Trump can gesture and bluff all he wants, but we are in the war and we're getting drawn in. So the problem with those kinds of things is, the Pentagon is going to take that and run with it. You give them an inch, they're going to take a mile.
Well, yeah, let's be clear. Let's go to break and talk about this. It just blew me away. I mean, the Iranians lost 2 million people. That's World War I numbers in the proxy war with Iraq against Iran backed by us. These people do not fuck around. Yeah, a bunch of high school and college kids are out running around protesting. They're not going to kill people, folks. The Muslims are willing to do it. And they're not the retards like the other Muslims. We'll be right back. I am cutting this announcement to exclude all the VIP real. So there's a lot of different types of people in the world, but you can really break them into 3 or 4 groups. There's a lot of subgroups, but there's people that are just zombies, NPCs, and don't care. There's people that calculate whatever the current power structure is and go along with that. And then there's people that do what's right and don't think about the consequences because it's spiritual ingrained in them to do the right thing. And you got to have a 4th group that are good but are scared to tell the truth. And you can add a lot of other groups, subgroups to that. But people always ask who pays you, who does this. I sell you stuff straight up, supplements, books, T-shirts, whatever. It's all great stuff. But I love the truth. I love humanity. I am a good person. My ancestors were good. I never really thought about talking older about like measuring up to them. I never really talked about my ancestors because it's like I'm going to live off them, but it's ridiculous. I'm all the way back to William the Conqueror and the old kings of England, and the inventor of the stock exchange and the Greshams, just on my mom's side, and then they all got kicked out, so they went to the New World, do their own deal, and the Mayflower, and my dad's side, all of it. But I'm doing this myself. This is me. This is my time. Alex Jones did this with you. So I don't live in some class thing where it's off my name. This is a meritocracy. In the meritocracy, I've kicked some ass. And then I look at people in the political system, left, right, you name it, that just go with what will get them ahead, but they don't think about the 2nd, 3rd, 4th order of things. Well, I'll tell you the 6th or 7th order. And in historical mathematics and political equations, politics is math. You got it all together. Doing what's right and not thinking about all the different permutations is the most sophisticated thing and the most powerful always. So I can think through all these levels and get lost in it for hours and do incredible things consciously. But just being good and doing what's right, I always see God's plan in the end was the most advanced thinking. And Nick, I think it's important to state that because I can tell, and I know you get ready for your show. I've seen you ready for it here. You're just reading, researching. Nobody's telling you what to say. There's no handler. When they've sued me, the Democrats and their big law firms, they're always like, who's the boss? Where's the money? Who tells you what to say? They cannot believe for years till they depose the whole crew. Like, who tells you what to say? They don't even get, like, this is real because for them, they're slaves. It's all handed down to them, every fucking word they say. So speak to authenticity. You say what you want about Nick Fuentes. You are your own man. You're not a Fed. You're not controlled. You're your own 26, 27, 28, whatever it is now, young man. And that very idea threatens them that there's so much native talent that God gave us through our species.
Well, that's the thing. They're now trying to reverse engineer me. In the past year, they saw my clips go viral. They saw the show blow up. And now they're all trying to reverse engineer. And they want to say, well, what is the secret ingredient? Why are people listening to this guy? And in many ways, I'm sure they did the same with you.
It's authenticity and native intelligence.
Well, they try to characterize it and they say, well, it's because they're edgelording or they're offering something sensational or it's, all different types of things. And they're always looking at it on the cosmetic level. But what they're missing is that we are real and people can tell. We are trying to do our best. We are trying to tell the truth. We are guided by our conscience and people can pick up on that. You're a live streamer in a sense. You're on radio. I'm more of like I guess we're both in live streaming.
No, I've been live streaming since it started, yeah.
But you can't hide. You can't hide on a live stream. When you do a show for 3 hours a day, every day for 20 years, and I've done it for 10 years, there's nowhere to hide on that. Eventually people can
ask,
pick
how
up
do you
on
have energy? Because they got to calculate everything in 2 minutes. No, the answer is I don't calculate how I look. I already know what's true. Exactly. There's no energy to bullshit when you're on the air 4 hours a day.
Exactly. There's no pretense. There's no facade. There's nothing like that. And that's what people like. People are sick of being lied to. people are kind of dumb, but they can tell when they're being lied to sometimes. And I think that the basis of our appeal, or at least the reason why we have a fanatical following, people that follow us, really follow us, it's because there is that connection. They're tapped into the same thing that we are.
I think you're right. Overall, you're right. But the big thing is you're right. You've been right like 99% of the time, Nick. That's why they do. I mean, sure, your jokes are funny. You know, you're a good-looking guy. You're witty. I edgelord too. It's fun.
What happened to, remember Alex was going to set up Nick with his daughter? That would be fucking wild, wouldn't it? Nick gets an arranged marriage with Alex Jones's daughter. What happened to that? I guess that didn't work out, huh? We do need, Nick, you do need to get married, bro. We need to get Nick married.
But it's unscripted. But at the end of the day, it's being right.
The problem is he's at like in his mid-20s now, and he's still a virgin, and he's going to need to find his virgin woman to marry. And that's going to be a hell of a task to find an actual chick in her 20s who's a virgin. Good luck.
You would not be successful if you were not correct. That's the final ingredient, is being right. That's what they don't like. The bad guys hate the fact that we're smart, we figured them out, and we're right, and they know it. And if people listen to us, they'll learn how we know. We tell them the secrets, how we know it, and we tell them it's game over. That's why I keep harping. Look how accurate I am. I said Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. I bet there's a sleeper cell Muslim attack, and I bet it happens tonight. Probably Austin, Texas, or Dallas, or Houston. It happened. It just people ask, how did I know that? It's just I can just see all the pieces.
You're right. It's the truth. It's fundamentally it's the truth, and that's our biggest secret weapon, I think, that we have.
So where does this go forward? I want to play a few clips of the Zionist Greater Israel. Anything you want to say, just say it now, because I've been asked the questions. You're very nice. I've told you be aggressive like you're on your own show. You're very, very deferential on mine. Give us 10 minutes of just however long you want. Nick Fuentes Unleashed.
Nick Fuentes Unleashed. Well, to me, this entire debacle with Iran, it has to go somewhere.
I like that he keeps saying debacle because it makes me think of Candace Owens. Debacle. How did Candace Owens say it? Debacle. This is a real debacle, guys.
Like, I'm with you when you say, how do we pressure Trump to stop? How do we, although I am pessimistic that we can get Trump to change course, this does have to give way to something. It does have to generate action. And I continue to believe that the only action that is really going to work, that is possible, is that we have to switch up the voting. I really believe that. Like my playbook right now, when I look at this Iran thing, all this does is make me more confident that I was right in 24.
Listen, I love Jeb McGinnis, but he said something yesterday very profound. He goes, Trump's got us by the balls. I'm his bitch, basically. Well, I don't want to be in that position.
Exactly.
He ain't got me by the balls. I ain't nobody's bitch, boy.
So you need options. You don't want to be somebody's bitch. You need options. You need to be able to walk away from the table. And what allows you to walk away from the table is if you have another option. You have somebody else to go to.
And the Republican Party is like a woman. And
people keep talking about a third party. Yeah, we need a viable third party. That's what we need. Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? If we had a viable third party, like we created America First third party, but that seems like a pipe dream, to be honest.
I don't want to be mean to women, but it's just funny. When you tell a woman, I'm done, you're not in charge, they kiss your ass. As soon as you kiss their ass, you're in the doghouse.
Yep. Yeah, that's a weird psychology. It's any negotiation. Any negotiation is like that. It's all a power dynamic. It's all about, the coincidence of wants. And so they want our votes. We want them to work for us. If they don't work for us, we can't give them our votes. And if we're not going to give them our votes, well, we should just throw them to the other side.
How obvious is it with Israel? I get Israel swinging its dick around to piss everybody off. But what about Israel bragging they run us here domestically? That's not good. I mean, what's the chutzpah point?
Yeah, so I think that Tucker might be onto something when he says that the reason they do this is because they want actually to bait and incite people to freak out. And there's sort of like a subtle distinction here. Then certain groups can say, oh, there's all this anti-Semitism, and people usually stop there. But you got to consider the Jewry in Israel is distinct, although related to the Jewry in America. The Jews in Israel, I think their desire is to see the American Jews move there. I think their desire is to see American.
Yeah, they see themselves as the Ubermenschen.
Yes. And so I think it is in their interest to generate Jewish nationalism. And Jewish nationalism is a response to anti-Semitism.
That's
so
why
they can
Israel
put out all this
bombed
stuff.
Baghdad, bombed Madrid in the 50s to make Jews, and blamed it on communists to make them move to Israel.
Exactly. And similarly in America, all the so-called anti-Semitism is pushing the American Jewish community into the arms of Israel, either moving there or supporting them or, getting involved in activism. So I think to the extent that there's a play there, I think that's pretty clearly what it is. There's a symbiotic relationship.
Well, look at how Israel funds Al-Qaeda, funds Hamas, creates them, all that, the elements running it. And I'm not saying do this because I couldn't do it either, and the Muslims, obviously, on average, are so emotional, so it's impossible. But if they Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King them or Jesus Christ them, Jesus knew what to do. Imagine if no one fought Israel and everybody just stopped. Well, then Israel would just stage stuff and say they did it. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They would just blow stuff up and say they did it. I mean, but what if you could get everybody to stop fighting Israel? That would be the key to shutting it down.
See, I don't know if that's the case.
I don't. What are you talking about, Alex? What are we talking about here?
If it's just a matter of getting them to stop fighting, I think that.
No, but you get what I'm saying. They have to. They fund
really.
the radical Muslims to get attacked,
right?
And stood down on October 7th. Obviously, it's academic. What I'm saying, it's not going to happen,
right? Yeah, I think the solution is that we need a movement that is actually restraining Israel. Like it needs to go further in the sense that
that shows you what they're scared of. They got 20 states or 23 to pass laws that if your city condemns Israel and genocide, they don't get state funds. That's unconstitutional. Exactly. They're really worried about boycotts.
Well, and in particular in the national security apparatus, they don't want anybody in the National Security Council or the Pentagon that is going to tell the president you need to restrain Israel because they're driving the conflict. I said it on my show the other night. If it was up to Washington and Tehran, they would have made a deal because it's in both of their interest and there is enough overlap there. It is Israel that doesn't want the peace. So what's the answer? The United States needs to use its leverage over Israel and say, look, we pay for your military. We protect you from sanctions and from the UN and the rest of it. You have to do what we say. You have to listen to us. You're not going to go into Iran alone. You're not going to sabotage our diplomacy. You're not going to go out there with these provocative statements and threaten Iran while we're trying to make a deal. And if you wanted to actually have peace, if Tehran and Washington were to make a deal, that is the necessary step. As a matter of fact, that's the only step.
Because I said before you came on, I was going to say this and I didn't. Maybe I'll shoot a special report today because I have a lot of sources. I don't want to give them up. But a lot of it came out in the newsletter, so I can say it now. Trump's doing face saving right now, saying, no, I made Israel attack first. Well, the Pentagon's like, no, we didn't want to attack during the day. And Rubio's like, yeah, they did it. Sorry. They're all freaked out about this. I know the chairman told him privately, he came on the news, this is a bad idea, don't do it. We'll follow your order, though, sir. But here's 70% bad options. We say don't do it. Then I confirmed with others that Israel, basically Trump was like leaning on not doing the attack, so they did this. Now Trump is face saving because he wants to obviously do that, and that Trump got really pissed off. There's photos of him screaming at Hegseth, who I think overall is a good guy, but the bottom line is that I've confirmed that Israel is basically in control of our foreign policy by our own posture to be allied with them, and that is.
It sure feels like it because who really benefits from this war? The American citizens don't. This is really Israel's war. Again, if the news didn't talk about Iran, I could live my entire life never realizing Iran existed. Like, I could literally live my entire life on this planet and not even know fucking Iran exists because it has no effect on my life. This is such bullshit, dude.
Uncontrovertible. Because now they're trying to do damage control. Oh, no, Trump gave the order. No, our very doctrine is if Israel's attacked, we attack. And so thank God Russia's not following its agreement with Iran or China, or we'd be in war with them right now. So it is a fact. And then the neocons, the Israel lobbies, all over the internet attacking anybody that points this out and tries to say it's not the case, while Netanyahu brags about it. So, I mean, that's the big news. I'm not even defending Trump. It actually makes him worse that it is now literally true. What I claimed, well, I wanted to claim wasn't true because I don't want to believe it, that Trump is an errand boy of Israel. And how do we deal with that, Nick Fuentes?
Well, if Trump is an errand boy for Israel, then you got to shut down his government. And that means you got to go into the midterms and you got to get the Democrats in. And the Democrats hopefully will impede the administration. That's what they're going to do. They're going to launch investigations, subpoenas, select committee, all that kind of stuff. And they're going to grind it to a halt. And, you know, if Trump is an operative of a foreign government, consider that he's forfeited his entire mandate. Because his whole basis of support is that he's America first, MAGA. He's not like the other politicians. Okay, well, if you're an errand boy for
it literally is MAGA now. MAGA is MAGA now, thanks to Trump.
Israel, if you're a puppet of the Jewish state and you're bringing us to war for them, that's not like a small thing. That's not like a little bit of foreign aid. We're going to war on their behalf. He has to be opposed. And a lot of people don't want to take it there for one reason or another. But, you know, I don't know what the option is. I don't know how you work with that. If you're America first and Trump is Israel first, well, that's not exactly a divide that can be bridged. There's not actually a middle ground between like,
no, I totally agree. Let me give you the
Israel.
good news from my sources. There are many, Pentagon, White House, you name it. This is a firestorm. Trump is really pissed off. He doesn't even know what he thinks. That's why all these messages, notice the last few hours, the messages are all schizophrenic. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, all over the media.
So
I agree, Cyber Twitch. It sounds crazy when you first hear it, but then when you look at your options, it's like maybe that is what we need to do. Cyber Twitch says, honestly, I'm starting to warm up on Nick's strategy. It's the only power we have is to threaten to put in the Dems, unfortunately. I mean, what other options do we have? I'm willing to listen to other fucking strategies and plans for how we combat this. But yeah, it is a legitimate strategy.
Good news, at least. I think we've got to. What would you? I'm telling you, Trump will end up probably seeing this because they respect you. I've met with them and stuff. I told you off record. Like they've seen the algorithms. They're paying attention to you, son.
Bro, imagine if Alex would have brought back the Hitler stash for this episode. Yeah.
And I mean that in a nice way. What would you advise the president to do right now?
Well, it's tricky because we're in. So, you know, you would have said never go in, but we're in now. Now that we're in.
That is legitimate. If there are third-party options, you could do that. Instead of voting for the Democrats, you could vote third party. And if a lot of MAGA votes third party, that's probably going to hand it to the Democrats. So it probably will have the same effect. But not every election do we even have a third-party option.
I think you got to hit Iran really hard and then you try your best to leave. But, you know, again, it's like I said before, all those things we thought were charming.
Oops. Fucking shit.
Being right. You would not be successful if you were not correct.
Let me see where I have to go pull up. I have to pull up the stream so I can see where the fuck I left off. My bad. Let me, fuck. I guess I got to pull up my stream to actually see where I left off so we don't have to rewatch something here. I was going to respond to something, hit the wrong fucking button. Sorry, guys. We'll get right back to it. I just want to see the timestamp that I left off on so we can get back to where we were. Yeah, but yeah, voting third party is one way to do it, dude. Like, we just don't have a lot of third party options. I'll rewatch something here. Oops. I was going to respond. I don't think it's accelerationist to punish the Republicans for being fucking terrible and lying to us. 139.26. Thank God for the replay. Shit, 139. Yeah, I was 10 minutes. Good. We were going to have to watch 10 minutes all over again. 139. Here we go.
That's the president do right now.
Well, it's tricky because we're in. So, you know, you would have said never go in, but we're in now. Now that we're in, I think you got to hit Iran really hard and then you try your best to leave. But, you know, again, it's like I said before, Israel is going to want us to push deeper and deeper into this until we have a full-scale regime change.
And then we win, put assholes in to do it again.
Right. So you got to back off. You got to let the Iranian regime reconstitute itself and restore order. Because if the Iranian security architecture is not going to rule the country, then who is? There's nobody else. So it's either a failed state.
Prince said 2 weeks ago. Same thing.
Everyone has. I mean, it's just obvious. This country has 90 million people in it. Their economy's already collapsing. If you don't have the IRGC running the country, it's just going to be a failed state. unless you have an alternative, which they don't. So that's who's going to prevail. And so you need
so it's
to
a war crime to go wreck this state if you don't have an alternative.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. This is shaping up to look like Syria or like Libya, one of these places where it's like the worst humanitarian crisis.
I mean, the only alternative I've seen, which everybody says, you're stupid, nobody wants the Shah back, nobody wants... I see plenty of people on the fucking internet that are supporters of the fucking monarchy that want the Shah back. Okay? But that's... What other alternative is there? Because there's a good likelihood you replace this regime, you're going to get an even more radical regime, especially after they just got bombed and fucked with, you know? You're going to end up with even more radicals running things.
The world, because who's then going to provide all the services and the goods, and who's going to provide for the logistics and infrastructure, security?
Well, I've seen Israelis on...
At Burbs hit super chatted $1.41. Thanks to this BS got stuck in Dubai indefinitely.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Burb. Yeah, Dubai is not a good place to be right now. They've been fucking... Is Dubai still getting hit with rockets, bro?
Bunch of interviews say,
let's pray for you. You'll get out of there, bro. You'll get out.
We don't care about the Iranians. Screw them. Wreck it. We can't be part of something like that.
Thank you for the super chat, brother.
Well, and this is
Stay
the
safe.
Jewish holiday of Purim. I believe it was yesterday, Purim, which commemorates the victory of the Jews over the Iranians, and they celebrate their victory by killing 75,000 Iranians, just on account of. You know, they already won, they already got their guy, and they just killed a bunch of them anyway. So they view them as the Amalekites. And the Amalekites kill the women, kill the children, kill everybody. That's who we're dealing with here. And people say it's the Khazar Mafia. People say it's the Masons. This is out of the Old Testament. This is out of the Talmud. It's Jews. It's Israel. And that's what they have in store for the Iranians. They love, just like in Gaza, they love to see it. So,
all right, I had like 50 clips, and I should have played this with you, but Nick, things are quick, and you got to come back sooner. I'll come on your show if you want. You got to come down to Austin. You're dead on. You've been totally vindicated. My respect level went up even higher. Here is the former Israeli prime minister, total Rothschild operative, Naftali Bennett, just days ago saying, when we're done with Iran, Turkey, who has the biggest army in Europe, this just shows the Israel project. Like I said, I told people Saturday, I said, it's the next country, and we're supposed to now go to war with Turkey. I mean, this is bullshit. Play that, and then go to the clip of, I want to get your take. I hear you talked about it in your show. I saw you. But Huckabee going, yeah, Israel could take it all. I mean, and half the countries are allies of Israel. This is like, yeah, I love my neighbor. He's my friend. I'm going to eat him next week. Here's the clips.
A new Turkish threat is emerging. I want to be very clear. Turkey and Qatar have gained influence.
Bro, look, I mean, you're not even done with Iran yet, and you're trying to start another war with another... What the fuck is wrong with you idiots?
In Syria are seeking influence elsewhere and everywhere throughout the region. And from here, I warn.
Are they trying to bring about the end of the world? Is that their goal?
Turkey is the new Iran.
Fuck you.
Erdogan is sophisticated, dangerous, and he seeks to encircle Israel. And while some senior Israelis were on Qatar's payroll, Qatar and Turkey are nourishing
with Turkey to overthrow
the
Syria
Islamic
last year.
Brotherhood monster that is growing and eventually might become as dangerous as the one.
I have a question, sir. Actually, I don't have a question. I have a statement. Fuck you. Fuck you in your stupid fucking face, bro.
Created by Iran.
Turkey's the
Turkey
new
and Qatar
Iran.
are gaining influence not only in Syria, but also in Gaza, through the front door.
If Israel just stopped now,
and everywhere, and trying to create a
they've
new
won. They could be
chokery.
successful. They're not going to stop.
Turkey is trying to flip Saudi Arabia against us and establish a hostile Sunni axis with nuclear Pakistan.
You've appealed to Genesis. Genesis 15 says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram, receives from God.
It almost, Akumisko says they're trying to break America's. It almost feels like that. Like they want to draw us into this shit so they can destroy our fucking economy, and maybe they come out as the top dog after they destroy us. I really don't think Israel has our interests at heart. I don't know, this might sound crazy, guys, but I don't think Israel has America's interest at heart. And it sure seems like we have their interest at heart. Whoever that guy was, fuck him.
News that his descendants will inherit the land, and you tell me as the theologian if I'm getting this wrong, but from the Euphrates to the Nile. I think that's right. And that would include like basically the entire Middle East. That would be the Levant. So that would be Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. It would also be big parts of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It would be, I mean,
I'm not sure it would go that far. I mean, it would be a big piece of land, but here's the point.
It would be a lot of places that are now country.
By the way, fuck you too, Huckabee.
Man. We'll just take most of it.
Retire. Go the fuck away, bro.
Area
We don't want
we're
you.
talking about now.
Fuck this.
Israel.
Yeah, exactly, Alex.
Is a land that God gave through Abraham.
Fuck you and your fat, ugly fucking daughter. How about that?
To a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way. Christian Zionism, I want to go back because that's where we started.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
Play that again. Back it up 10 seconds. So here's the deal. I can do the math. I can talk for 10 hours on this. They attacked Saudi Arabia, Jordan, all these places. I mean, we already had Obama put radicals in to take over Egypt. I mean, this is cuckoo town. Play it again. He's like, yeah, they can take it all. They will take it all. And we're supposed to be the muscle for this, folks. Here it is.
Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
But you want us to do it, Nick Fuentes.
That's exactly right. And it doesn't stop everybody thought it would stop in Iran. And now they say, well, we're going to take out Erdogan and so on. And it just goes to show that's their end game, is they want to control the entire region. They want no rivals. And that's why they took out Iraq, Syria, Iran. And now what's actually funny, in their quest to destroy Iran, they've actually rallied everybody against them. So Saudi Arabia was getting ready to join the Abraham Accords in 2023 when October 7th happened, and then that derailed the process. Now the Saudis are working with Pakistan on a mutual defense pact. They're bringing Turkey into it. There is actually an emerging axis that is literally being built.
Israel blames Iran when Saudi Arabia is clear. It's what Israel did.
Right. Oh, yeah, of course. It's always Iran. It's always, then it'll be Erdogan in Syria. And it's funny because they took out Syria. Now they're worried that Erdogan is going to fill the power vacuum that they created. So
and they worked with him tacitly to take down Assad.
Right. Exactly. So
we got 45 seconds left. Are you gonna do a show tonight?
I'll be doing a show tonight, yes.
When do I get to go on your show? I want to come on.
Soon. So we don't have, I don't have a big studio like yours.
All right, so I think that's it. We got through it all pretty quickly too. I tried not to interrupt too much. I tried to make my because this would have been like a 4-hour episode if I would have interrupted as much as I normally do. But I just would like to reiterate, fuck you, Mike Huckabee. Fuck you, whoever that Israeli was. It's now they want us to go to war with Turkey. Fuck you. And Trump, I'm sorry, I'm at the point where it's a fuck you as well to Trump. I hope this war goes great, guys. I really do, but I can't be a fucking retard and pretend like we haven't seen this playbook and exactly how this plays out, and it's going to be a fucking disaster. Thank you guys for the support, all the new memberships, the super chats, all that. Much love, guys. We have to react to this shit, but we still have control of our lives. Have the best life you can. Stay positive, but say fuck you to these people. But stay positive while you do it. I'll be back in like an hour or so, and we'll do some RE9. The end. We're at the end of Resident Evil 9. We'll have some fun, do some gaming later tonight. We'll see you guys. Have a wonderful night. Thank you again for all the support. 135 likes. If you haven't hit the like, smash it on the way out. Links are in the description if you want to support the show. It's much appreciated. Go join us on Discord. Discord's free. You can hang out. We have a lot of fun in there. And my second channel, in case something happens to this one, go follow that one. Follow me on X as well, at Pinktrip, PINGTR1P. On all platforms, PINGTR1P. Much love, guys. See you on the next episode tomorrow night, okay? Take care, everybody.
Please subscribe and hit the like and ring that bell if you want notified. Here's some other videos to watch that you might like or you might not. Have a great day, my internet friend. I hope I'll see you once again. Please subscribe and hit the like and ring that bell if you want notified. Have a great day, my internet friend. I hope I'll see you once again. Please subscribe and hit the like and ring that bell if you want notified.